What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It's your boy, Adam Perez. We're back once again with a brand new live episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, streaming live for you guys here today to go ahead and wrap up your weekend. We got 6 incredible topics we're going to be talking about here for you guys today. We're definitely going to be doing a D23 Expo review, talking about some of the big trailers that wind up dropping in the world of Marvel Studios, along with Lucasfilm. We also have some developments and shakeups when it comes to Marvel television and even some DCU series certainly moving forward. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. We'll see you guys on the other side. Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're certainly watching us from. It is I, your host, Adam Perez, joined none other than by my co-host, Stuart Branscombe in the house. What's going on, buddies? Good to see you, man.
Hey, good to see you too. There is a huge lag on my end, and I'm not sure if it's the internet. So I'm just going to log out real quick and then log back in.
Okay, yeah, cool.
I just need to plug an Ethernet cord into my computer, and hopefully that'll let the whole thing run faster.
Sounds good, man. I'll see you in a second.
All right, cool.
Oh, yeah, there's a big lag in that regards. Sorry, I got like my cats just randomly trying to crawl on me while I'm doing a live show here today. What's up, y'all? It's good to see everybody. Hope everybody had a fantastic week so far. Hopefully your weekend is definitely going well. We got some big things that are definitely brewing here. We got a brand new Lantern series that starts today. That's right. The next step in the DCU is today, and that means we got ourselves a new series, the Green Lantern series, dropping on HBO Max later on tonight. Now that we've officially wrapped up House of the Dragon, we're on to something new. So we've got ourselves Lanterns this month, and then I think in October, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's Clayface, when Clayface drops. So I'm really excited for tonight for sure. But I hope everybody's having a fantastic week. We have the opportunity of, I believe D23 is still going on as of right now. I really highlighted it on Friday evening in regards to their kickoff show. They had a Disney Entertainment Showcase panel on Friday evening. It was like 2 hours as they talked Pixar movies, Disney movies, along with Lucasfilm and Marvel Studios. The Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm side of things is what we're really going to be focusing on today, and just pretty much other big news that wind up dropping in the beginning of the week. But if you do want to watch some of the big reveals that happened, my initial thoughts and reactions on things as they dropped, I did go ahead and do like almost a 3-hour live reaction for you guys on Friday evening. It is up on the channel right now if you want to go ahead and check that out at some point in time. If you want to go ahead and submit a live viewer question over, you certainly can go ahead and do that. I did go ahead and make a post for you guys yesterday evening. It was kind of late. It was around midnight or so, but there is a live viewer question post available on the YouTube channel if you want to go ahead and submit one over. And then if anything, we will definitely highlight it towards the end of the show. All right. I'm just going to wait for Stuart to certainly come back. But remember, as we go through all of these topics here today, remember, these are simply our A-plus opinions on these things. We definitely want to go ahead and know yours. So as we go through the topics, feel free to chime in. Live chat is open for you guys if you want to go ahead and give your thoughts and perspective on some of the stories that we're certainly talking about. We love having conversation with you guys around here, so definitely let your opinions certainly be heard. I'm going to go ahead and try and catch a movie tonight. I believe the big movie that's out this week is The End of Oak Street, if I'm not mistaken, the new Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway film. I'm probably going to go ahead and see if I can catch that tonight. And then we'll see if we have a second movie to certainly talk about tomorrow for you guys on our Movie Monday matinee show that happens on Monday evening. So let us know if there's any big movies that you're seeing. Peggy says, "Hey, Adam, how's your new computer working out?" Listen, it's not. Okay, my new computer is not working out because it hasn't been delivered yet. I ordered it I think August 4th or something like that, or August 6th, I believe. Amazon gave me a delivery date. I was ready for it. Never showed up. Said it was delayed. Pushed the delivery date to like the 12th or the 13th. Never showed up. Pushed the delivery date to the 15th. As of yesterday, still has not showed up. I went to Amazon today, and they said we're giving you a refund. So I'm expecting my refund here. It says 2 to 4 business days, but I'm thinking more like 7 business days. I ended up charging this thing to my credit card and everything. Like I just give me my money so I can just order my another computer somewhere else. Like I'm bummed, dude. Like I'm bummed. Today was the day that I was going to be streaming live with my new computer. I had a couple things in mind, especially with lanterns around the corner. I really wanted to have a new setup in my office. Just I was really excited, man. I was really excited, but today kind of bummed me out, if I'm being honest with you guys. So no computer today, but the search continues. I did get, it's so crazy because I ordered my computer and my computer screen, my TV, my computer monitor the same day. They were supposed to both be delivered the same day, but instead of my computer getting to me, just my computer monitor. So I got a brand new monitor, just chilling and waiting for my PC that never arrived. So I'm gonna see how long it takes to actually get the refund, actually pay it towards my credit card again, and then see if I can try and find another refurbished PC with the same specs and hopefully the same great deal that I was able to find. So yeah, computer not working out so great because it has not arrived yet, and then it looks like I got to start all over again. What's up, Stu? Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. Hopefully, yeah, it looks like things are running a lot smoother. For context, like right when the podcast had like started, I saw you like kind of doing the introduction, and then before like you got like 2 or 3 words in, there was like a giant freeze, and then suddenly the intro was playing, and then like at that point, I'm like, okay, I need an Ethernet cord.
Okay. Yeah, I was hoping it wasn't on my side. I tried to disconnect as much stuff as I can from the internet when it comes to that time. Let's see what we got in the live chat with us today. We got Ricky Perez. Hey, Adam, just saw the official teaser trailer for the upcoming Bluey movie during the Disney Entertainment Showcase. Yeah, I had the opportunity to check that out. I showed it to my girlfriend yesterday, and I was like, babe, I think this is going to be Noah's first movie we take him to. It's not until August next year, though, so he'll be like 5.5. So I'm hoping by then he's got that patience to just sit and watch a movie. Who knows? I still hope at 5.5 he likes Bluey. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Also last week they announced Toy Story 5 and releasing it on digital on August 18th this Tuesday, and then on Blu-ray and DVD on September 22nd after their theatrical release last June. Stuart, I've been in very much a physical media mindset these days. I feel like over the past month or so, with just the trajectory of streaming services and stuff, and everything that's going on with the Paramount and Warner Brothers merger, the Sony PlayStation stuff about digital games, no more physical. At this point, I'm just like, yeah, like if there's a movie that I really want to hold on to, I'm definitely gonna have to purchase it. I was watching this movie yesterday on Netflix called The Last House, and it was about people that got stuck in that are stuck inside their house and they're trying to survive. And they were trying to go through some of their old boxes, and they found their old DVD player and a bunch of old DVDs. And I'm like, I'm sure half these DVDs you probably can't even find it on streaming services anymore, even if you wanted to, right? And so I'm just like, just the ability to be able to go back and watch a movie anytime that you want to, that you can actually physically own, I just think is really important these days.
Yeah, plus you never know when a movie might be ridiculously hard to find for some reason. 2 examples, one being the 1980s John Romero Dawn of the Dead. For some reason, early 2020, I want to say it was like 2021, 2022, trying to get a hold of that movie. I couldn't find it any streaming services. I couldn't find it on DVD anywhere either. Like, wow. And I even checked Amoeba, which has like the biggest freaking collection of physical media that you'll find, both music and movies. They didn't have it. So for just the longest time, it wasn't there. And then I think eventually it finally popped up on a streaming service somewhere. Or no. I watched it from Video Vortex, which is kind of like the video store small attachment that we have for the Alamo Draft House. It's not like a huge catalog, but it's like a little small section of videos you can rent. The other one was Guyver, which only just recently became more accessible. Like 5 years ago, it was nearly impossible to watch the movie Guyver anywhere because it wasn't available online, and it definitely wasn't available on physical media, at least like not that I could find. So yeah, that's why it's important to own as much as you can, because you never know when something's going to be hard to track down for like no reason at all. And because of Sony, so like obviously their announcement of ending physical media, that was more related towards games, but I think it's just them dipping the toe in the water and them eventually wanting to move to stopping physical release of like movies in general. And since they own Blu-ray, it wouldn't just be Sony movies that would be affected, it would be a lot of other studios as well.
Interesting. I didn't even think about that. Ugh. We'll see how it goes. Ricky Press also says during the 65 years of Spider-Man at D23 panel, it was announced that Disney Junior is premiering the Spidey and Iron Man Avengers Halloween team-up special in September, and then the next day on Disney Plus. Yeah, I think they had a huge panel at 65 years of Spider-Man. They did show some. They did drop the trailer for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man at D23. I don't believe they actually released it to the public, but we do have some images for you guys later in the show. And I think they even talked a little bit about the upcoming 1000th issue of The Amazing Spider-Man. I think that winds up dropping next month in September, if I'm not mistaken. So Rick Perez also says, finally, during the Disney Entertainment Showcase, the Jonas Brothers took the stage and talking about the release of Camp Rock 3, and the cast performs one of the two songs. Very cool. We got Blossom in the house. What's up, Blossom? Appreciate you certainly coming through. Peg C here with us today as well. Blossom says, an expo, eh? Funny you should say that, amigo. I just went to see one in Chi-Town. Very cool. Hope you had a good time. She said, met up with Johnny Young Bosch up there. Ooh. He liked the pics I drew. I knew all those heart faces. I knew you were swooning, Blossom. I knew you were swooning over you some Johnny. Very cool. We got Marcelino in the house. Sacramento Anime and Dragon Con are coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'll be going this Sac Anime, but I wish I could attend Dragon Con because the Death Battle crew will be there. Dragon Con, isn't that in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken?
One way to find out. Might be one of those conventions that are at like multiple states.
Oh, okay.
Dragon Con. Yeah,
I think. I've always known them to be in Georgia, but I'm not quite sure if I've seen them like elsewhere or not too. That travels.
Yep, Atlanta. So yeah, maybe it is just a Georgia thing.
I'm considering the fact that my parents live right outside.
It's definitely Atlanta, Georgia.
Considering the fact that my parents live right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, I might need to schedule a visit to visit my parents around one time during that weekend for Dragon Con, maybe next year.
Nice, that's a good idea.
We got Tony Robinson in the house. What's up, Tony? Appreciate you coming through. Marcelino says Sony will stop making discs for video games in 2028. So there you go.
And I love that they announced this about, what was it? I want to say 3 weeks after there was an incident with all of their movies that were purchased digitally where they lost the licensing to all of it. So if you bought any movies on your PlayStation through Sony, you don't have them anymore. So imagine having that happen to you, and then 3 weeks later, that same company is like, "Oh yeah, we're not doing physical media."
No, I'd be pissed. Marcelino says, in response to DC's Absolute Universe, Marvel is canceling the Ultimate Universe. Yeah, I believe they've already wrapped that up, and they're making the Midnight Universe, where the X-Men are vampires and vampire hunters. Fantastic Four uses H.P. Lovecraft, and Spider-Man is Man Spider full time. So yeah,
I like the last two. I don't and I like half of the first one. I like the idea of the X-Men hunting vampires, but I don't know how I feel about the X-Men being vampires.
Yeah, I believe the X-Men is being written by Jonathan Hickman. So he's a great writer. I believe it's Philip Kennedy that might be writing either Fantastic Four or Spider-Man, and then Benjamin Percy, or maybe Benjamin Percy is the Spider-Man. I can't remember. But anyway, I am looking forward to it. I believe they start in October sometime. those new runs for Midnight Universe for the Marvel Universe. So check them out whenever you can. Guys, you know what? Let's go ahead and get into our I was gonna say our main topics, but our first segment of the day. And for those of you who are new to the channel, honorable mentions is pretty much the portions of the show where we talk about topics that did not quite make our top 5 or top 6, but felt that you guys certainly still deserved to know about them. And yes, Blossom, Spider-Man is 65 years old, or at least has been around for that long. It's kind of crazy, I know. I do want to report Spider-Man Brand New Day. Speaking of Spider-Man Brand New Day officially has hit $2 billion, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
That's right. Just 3 weeks into its release, it has surpassed $2 billion in global ticket sales, eclipsing the rare benchmark just after 3 weekends of its release. It's grossed $785 million domestically and $1.2 billion overseas for a worldwide total of just under it's like $2.02 billion by the end of this weekend. The new Spider-Man movie is actually one of 8 films in history to reach the $2 billion club. The other ones, Avatar, Avengers Endgame, Avatar The Way of Water, Titanic, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Avengers and Avengers Infinity War. So a lot of Marvel and a lot of James Cameron, or I should say a lot of Disney and a lot of James Cameron.
Yeah. Or in this case, a lot of Disney, because James Cameron's other Avatar movies are Disney now.
Yeah, a lot of Disney, absolutely. Right now, I think I don't think it's fully broken the biggest domestic box office yet. That's still being held by Star Wars The Force Awakens at $939 million. But Spider-Man Brand New Day is not far off at $785 million. So we'll see if it manages to break The Force Awakens record. Speaking of Spider-Man, at D23, we did have ourselves a brand new look at Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2. They unfortunately did not release the trailer, which I'm kind of surprised that they didn't release the trailer. I would assume that I'm assuming 2 things. Either they will release the official trailer for Season 2 sometime next week after D23 drops, or they may be waiting for maybe the 1000th issue of the Amazing Spider-Man, maybe celebrate that week of Spider-Man or something like that. I don't know if that's like the full-on 65-year anniversary of it or not, but maybe they're holding on for something like that. But we did get some first look images that came to us straight from the D23 panel. Looks like Dr. Octopus is back. We got some new supporting characters. If you look in the far top left-hand corner, looks like we got Spider-Gwen. Certainly going to join us. And if you look in the far top left-hand corner, the blonde-haired guy that you see right there, the introduction to Eddie Brock. So we got Eddie Brock and our Spider-Gwen in the top left-hand corner. And anytime you see Eddie Brock, not too far behind is going to be the Black Symbiote that we got the opportunity to see a little bit from last year, from season 1. It's got its grasp on Peter in this image. At least this is you can see it's clearly Spider-Man, because if you look at the mouth, you can see the Spider-Man mask kind of peeking through as well. And then we also wind up getting this image of some other characters. The Lizard looks fantastic. I love the Lizard and Rhino. I think look really good, if I'm being honest, just from this art style stuff. But the Lizard really surprises me in regards to like just the scales. Literally just feels like it's ripped out of the comic books. But incredible character designs, if you ask me, for this art style of animation for the series, Stuart.
Yeah, I like how the show kind of it does a little blend with some of the characters, like in terms of how they did Scorpion from season one, how they're currently doing Tombstone. It very much feels unique to this show specifically. But when you look at these characters, they just look straight from the comic books. That's what I loved about when they introduced Doc Ock in season one. Is that like you have like the show where it's like it's not like it strays too far from the comics, but it's far enough to feel like a very original kind of vision of Spider-Man. And then you get to Doc Ock, and it's just Doc Ock
It's
from the
just Doc
comics.
Ock. Yeah, yeah, I absolutely love it. Um, so that's what we had the opportunity to see. We'll see if they drop a trailer at some particular point in time. We also got Ewan McGregor in the news here this week. According to Variety, McGregor says, "Come on, Disney." He's pressuring the studio again to play Obi-Wan. He says they just seem not to be ready, is what he says. He says, "I'm ready whenever you are. They just seem not to be ready, but I'm up for it. At the end of the Obi-Wan series, I'm walking off into the desert and I've decided to leave. I've realized I can't keep the pressure on Luke. I realize he has to have his own childhood. So I leave him with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru and I wander off. And Qui-Gon's back and we go off. But where are we going?" He says the next time we find Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's Alec McGinnis up in the mountains. Whatever happens between those two moments is what I want to do and spend the rest of my career doing these stories, series or movies. We've got plenty of time. I've got 10 years before I'm Alec McGinnis's age. So come on, Disney. So I mean, he's avid. He wants to do this, Stuart. I mean, if Obi-Wan himself, Ewan McGregor, is screaming to the heavens, Disney, give me some work. Um, you know, uh, Based off of maybe the lukewarm reception that Obi-Wan wind up receiving as a series, where do you go from here, Stuart?
I gotta be honest, I don't know. I mean, I would love to see more of him in like kind of because we got Ahsoka season two coming out, and in it we see there are going to be a ton of or not a ton, but we see that at the very least there are going to be some flashbacks to the Clone Wars. I'd love to see Ewan McGregor in that. As for stories about him that can be told between episodes, or between the ending of his show and episode four, I don't know because he kind of feels. I mean, I guess that you could say that maybe Qui Gon teaches him a little more to become like, I guess less attached, but also at the same time still kind of like ready to jump into action when he needs to. And then of course you have that fight with him and Darth Maul, but I don't know how you make either a movie or a show out of that. And I'm not saying it can't be done. Please keep that in mind. I'm just saying that as of now, I don't know what kind of story you tell with that. But yes, if Ewan McGregor wants it, and if someone has a good story in mind for him, I'd love to see him because he is like one of my favorite actors. So for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know where you'd go from there though.
Yeah, I mean definitely in the same mindset in the sense of like if Ewan McGregor wants to do it, him and Hayden were some of the best things that came out of that prequel trilogy that people still love to this day. So to me, it's like if he says he wants to be Obi-Wan Kenobi again, and the fact that he really wants to do this for the rest of his career, it seems as though like it's that important of a role to him. I hope Dave Filoni is certainly listening. I feel like this is right up Dave Filoni's alley in the sense that he likes to rehash these characters and put them into time periods that we've kind of seen explored a little bit already. So this feels like something Dave Filoni would be up for kind of tackling. It really would just kind of come down to who's your creative team behind it, and do you have a story that's certainly worth telling. And I really would like to have maybe even Ewan McGregor involved in trying to come up with some ideas or pitches for more Obi-Wan Kenobi without stepping on canon kind of too much. But I would love to see more of him and Qui-Gon. If there's another threat that emerges that maybe Obi-Wan has to kind of squash before it can get a little bit closer to Luke, whatever the case may be. But even if it's a Kenobi season 2, or if it's a cameo in the future Ahsoka series or any other movies, whatever the case may be, I don't think you can go wrong with Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. So we'll see if they ever find a story for him, but he wants it badly. And last but not least, for honorable mentions, My Adventures of Superman is in the news right now because it seems as though season 4 is officially in limbo right now. Now that the series has finished, we've had some people over uh, at HBO and Adult Swim and DC kind of talking a little bit about this. It says my Adventures with Superman has not yet been renewed for a fourth season. Views have been great, our best ever. Our stakeholders, DC Studios, Adult Swim, HBO Max, have been great to the show, but each has to chart its own future in an uncertain, unstable climate. That takes time. However, it turns out getting to make our third season was a gift from everyone involved, especially our team and our viewers. I learned more on season 3 than any other project, and I love to bring those lessons back to Superman. I'm grateful just to have taken the ride. So it's let me see here. So they talked to a Cartoon Network and Adult Swim president Michael Oweline, offering some insights on what the future may hold for the series. And he says, we don't know yet. Season 3 is doing great. This started before James Gunn and Peter Safran came in, so we need to hear from them about it. It cohered with what they were doing. It was already in the works, and they looked at it and they were like, this is fine, keep going. But we're letting them kind of drive DC. It's their job now, right? So we'll see. He says the series creator did great. It's doing well. Whenever it premieres on streaming, it pops a little bit. It's doing great, and people are really happy with it. I see good things about it. I'm glad we found a home for it. So as of right now, season 4 is really just kind of up in the air, and it does seem as though, at least when it comes to making that decision, I don't necessarily know if that is a I don't want to say I don't necessarily know if that's a James Gunn and Peter Safran decision at this particular point in time, because due to the merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers, I am hearing rumors. I don't know if this is true or not. I thought I heard or saw a quote somewhere in an article that mentioned that Warner Brothers almost needs to get confirmation from Paramount before they greenlight anything. So maybe Paramount actually has some say in what future series or movies kind of go into development at this point, despite kind of being stuck in, having an antitrust trial in March. It's really made a lot of advancements for movies and series just in a big quagmire right now, Stuart.
Dang. Yeah, I didn't know about the Paramount thing. But it wouldn't
That's what I heard.
surprise me if that
I
was
don't know.
true.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like I've read that several times over the past couple of weeks or so. So I don't know the validity of it though. But it sucks.
Oh yeah. And that would make a lot of sense given like all the other DC projects that have currently been like either put on ice or just completely like canceled altogether. Because if it isn't true, then I think it's actually not the smartest thing for DC to be canceling all the shows, especially given their, income that they have coming from Paramount for every day that the merger doesn't go through. Like I'm thinking if I was like in charge of Warner Brothers, I'd be like, oh, cool. We have a chance to make the value of our property go up, even if this current merger doesn't go through. So let's use the money that we're getting from Paramount and let's make more, TV and movies with that. But that's just me.
We got Kiki and Luca in the house. What's up, Kiki and Luca? Shout out to Kiki and Luca also, by the way, that while he was in attendance over at D23, and while we were doing our live reaction stream, he was sending us a bunch of videos and clips and things like that. He even sent me the teaser or special look for Star Wars Starfighter, Stuart. I don't know if I sent that your way or not. Have you had the opportunity to see it at all, though?
I don't think so. I didn't even know that was available. I thought
I don't think it was. I don't think it is available. Although I did see somebody posted it on on IG on Instagram. I wind up reposting it. I don't know if it's been taken down or not, but it was a Star Wars Starfighter teaser that they showed at D23. He sent me a copy of what he recorded. I'll send it to you later if you haven't had the opportunity to see it. But the only other place I've seen it at is on IG. So I don't think they meant for it to go out to the public, but we'll see.
Okay, that would make sense.
Um, and I think that does it for all of our honorable mentions. Real
Ooh,
quick, I do.
actually, I got one.
Oh, go for it.
Oh,
Mark just said, I want
so
Obi-Wan to be a mini series. It would be open if Reva was the first main and saved Vader for the last season. I get you.
yeah,
Go ahead, Stuart. What were you gonna say?
yeah, and then honestly for the Obi-Wan thing, not to sound like one of the grifters, but I really just don't think they needed like Reva or really the Inquisitors in general for that. I think like if it were me, I would have just focused on Obi-Wan and Vader and had, that been the focus of the series. That's why I think it just would have been a better movie instead of a series. Because obviously I don't think that dynamic would have worked if you stretched it for 6 episodes, but it would have worked if it was an hour and a half. But that's how I would have done it. Anyways, my honorable mention. I hope this is something that Indy and Jonathan talk about on their Anime Assembled, because I just started this new anime and I want to recommend it to everyone. It's called Chainsmoker Cat. It is absolutely hilarious, but also incredibly gross in a lot of ways, and I absolutely love it. So one thing that's really kind of cool about it is so obviously just like the title, it's like a cat girl, but she's like a chain smoker. She's super addicted to it. But what I love about the visuals about this anime is that whenever we're like watching the show, just from her perspective, there's just like this euphoric sense that the show has to it. Like the show itself feels very like aesthetically pleasing and feels very, very zen in a lot of ways. And then when you see her through other people's perspective, she's absolutely disgusting, and everything about her apartment
Mm.
completely gross. And the people even constantly like mention how much she like absolutely smells completely terrible.
Oh no.
And so it's such a great kind of like I don't know, just like kind of the way they tell the story is just so far incredibly intriguing. There's also a weird amount of lore, like her being like kind of a Catwoman isn't just a visual gag. It's actually they add like some weird lore into the show later on where they try to explain like she's part of like a whole nother species.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and like there's also this whole thing where everyone at her apartment complex, most of them are also cat girls, and they all have their own weird addictions. Like one of them's an alcoholic, one of them's a drug addict, one of them's a streamer that's just into really weird things while she streams. And anyways, all this to say, it is a funny anime, super raunchy, lots of gross out humor. But I feel like we're about 7 episodes into this, and I feel like this is just one with a lot of potential. So I definitely recommend it. And I hope Indy talks about it at some point in the future.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. He said they had a huge storm out in Indiana, and so I believe his internet and some of his power's been down off and on for like the past week or so. But he did say his stuff might be up and running again on Tuesday. So I'm hoping him and John can get an anime assembled episode here this week, and yeah, maybe we'll pass it along and see if they'll mention it on their show.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, guys, let us know some of your thoughts in regards to the honorable mentions here this week. But Stuart, are you ready to get into these main topics with me, man?
Always.
Let's do it. We got D23 Expo in the news here this week. We got some huge X-Men casting. I feel like over the past couple of weeks, that's all we've been talking about, but the information just continues to pile up and be revealed to us. So we're going to be talking some X-Men casting here today, along with some of the big announcements from the Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm panel, as we also will review the Avengers Doomsday trailer that dropped, along with the VisionQuest trailer and Ahsoka trailer that dropped as well. And then we'll definitely talk about the shakeups that are happening amongst the MCU and DCU when it comes to television and series wise. But Stuart, let's go ahead and kick off, man, with some X-Men talk. That's right. X-Men is officially here. They revealed the brand new logo for the X-Men movie, set to go ahead and drop May 5th, 2028, along with bringing out the entirety of the cast. If you guys missed the cast, let me go ahead and reveal them to you guys. This is, in fact, not the full cast. I just want to be clear that this is not the full cast of people. They do plan on should I keep us Maybe I'll keep us here. They do plan on at some point in time revealing the other cast members, but this is who they have been able to lock down contractually so far. So for some people that are wondering, let's start from the far left and work our way inward. So we actually have our Storm officially. She's going to be played by um, Juliet star Maya Boyd. Maya Boyd is going to be playing Storm. As you see, that's Jack Schreier, the director, and then that's Maya Boyd, who's going to be playing Storm. I don't believe she's got a lot on her IMDb, but she does come from the world of theater. So she's a theater trained kid. I believe so is Sadie Sink and Kit Connor, if I'm not mistaken, too. So she's got a lot of she definitely has a lot of Broadway and like just theatrical work behind her. So like a gem. They probably found themselves a gem in Maya Boyd. So I'm kind of curious to see what else she winds up doing. I believe if you look at her IMDb, she might have like a short film that she might have been a part of, and like maybe one other thing. So might have to search around for it. But I'm interested to kind of see her work. And then you've got Sadie Sink right next to her, who is going to be playing Jean Grey. And then next to Sadie Sink is Christopher Abbott, who's actually been tapped to play Charles Xavier. The gentleman in the middle is Christopher Abbott. He's going to be our new Charles Xavier. I hope Homeboy is ready to go ahead and get that hair cut and just give us a nice bald look. Next to him is Samara Weaving. We've already confirmed that she was going to be playing Emma Frost, the White Queen, for us. And then beside her is somebody else that we confirmed last week in Kit Connors, who's going to be playing Cyclops. So that's Cyclops to the very far right. And surprise, surprise, fresh off of her success and Obsession, we have Indy Navarrete, who is officially joining the X-Men cast. If you guys recall, there were talks that she had originally spoken with Jack Schreier like months ago or whatever the case may be, and the idea of her possibly playing Mystique came up. But she is not playing Mystique. Indy Navarrete will, in fact, be playing the character Rogue. That's right. Indy Navarrete has landed the Rogue character. I'm sure Kaylee Spaney fans all across the world are throwing their laptops around across the room right now, just pissed off. But Indy Navarrete, fresh off of an incredible performance in Obsession, has landed the role of Rogue. And then last but not least, one person that is not listed or in this photo, who was not in attendance but has been cast, and he did actually deliver a video message. Adam Driver officially is Mr. Sinister. That's right. He actually referred to himself as Nathaniel Milbury, which is the original name for Mr. Sinister. So he will be Mr. Sinister in this upcoming movie. So, Adam Driver's name was thrown around a lot, whether that be for Magneto, Mr. Sinister. I even heard like William Stryker possibly. And the fact that his name was so attached to this, it was like, it's just a matter of time. Like, he's got to be a part of this movie in some capacity. We didn't know what it was, but it is now official. He will, in fact, be playing Mr. Sinister. So that is so far your X-Men cast. And I gotta say, Stuart, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, man. I'm fascinated by Maya Boyd a ton. I think she's gorgeous. I think she's beautiful. I think she could definitely capture, the goddess that is Storm for sure. And her being theatrically trained, I am really curious to see like what her range is. I'm gonna have to do some more research on her. Christopher Abbott, well, I definitely have seen him before. I'm gonna have to go ahead and look at more of his work and just kind of see like how I feel about him in that role. The Indy Navarrete role for me though really surprised me. I didn't know how to feel about it at first. I'm sure, like, just range wise of what I've seen from her, I'm like, I think she's gonna nail the role. But visually, I was like, I just don't see it yet. And then, just as I said that, Stuart, I'm getting hit with mock-ups. Like, that's all I'm getting hit with. I'm getting hit with like, here she is as Rogue in this picture. Here she is as a Rogue in this picture. Here's another one of her as Rogue. And as I'm looking at all of these, I'm just thinking to myself, like, yeah, damn, I can actually see this. And even if they wanted to go the more darker tone, boom, we've got, what's this, the X-Men Evolution and a series also. They can go that route if they want to. Like I'm sold, man. I'm immediately sold seeing the mock-ups. Like, look-wise, they could definitely nail it. And I think from an actor's perspective, I think she could crush this too. But how are you feeling about the cast in general, Stuart?
Okay, so most of the cast I am absolutely loving. I have one kind of, I don't know if concern is the right word, just not what I expected. But first of all, I want to say that I love that's a mixture of some actors that are like up and coming, such as Sadie Sink and Indy Neveready. But then we also got a good mixture of actors that, of course, I have not really seen that much of, especially with Storm. I love that we're casting someone who's like completely like a theater actor. I feel like, especially because if you're going to do a character like Storm, you really have to have kind of a theatrical voice for something like that. So I'm really excited to see most of these characters. Or sorry, I shouldn't say excited to see most of them. I am excited to see all of them. I am nervous about one of them. Oh, and then lastly, sorry, before I get to the one I'm nervous about, Samara Weaving, I am totally cool with them casting her as Emma Frost. I actually think that's perfect. I think Indy Neveready as Rogue, that would actually have been the first X-Men I would have said if like someone was like, okay, if you had to cast her in any role in the X-Men, which would it be? Oh, Rogue, for sure. No hesitation. The one that does concern me, however, is Christopher Abbott. I have not seen a lot of his movies, but I will say that this was a role I kind of expected. Like, even though every time I've talked about the X-Men, I've been saying I kind of hope it goes to mostly unknowns. I think the exception for that was Xavier and Magneto. Those were the two where I'm like hoping they go big with the actors, and I mean like getting like the A-list actors to play those two. So I think that's why it's like somewhat disappointing. It's Christopher Abbott, one that's like, I'm sure is a fine actor. I'm definitely gonna have to watch a lot of his films now because I want to know. I want to get like kind of an idea of how he might play the role. One of his movies on his IMDb is Poor Things, which I did see, but I don't remember what his role was in that movie. But yeah, like I don't know. It's just it feels like an underwhelming choice is all I'm saying for the role of Xavier. That's not to say that I think he's not going to do a good job. It's just yeah, I don't know. I think my expectations were a little bit too high for the Xavier casting. As for everyone else, I think they all look the part. I'm really excited to see how they do. Again, I think the fact that we got like a good mix of unknowns and up and coming is really going to make this cast feel. It's going to make it easier for us as an audience to see them as the X-Men rather than the actors playing the X-Men. So overall, I think this is really cool. Really excited to see them. When the movie comes out.
So Christopher Abbott is 40 years old. It says that he's an acclaimed American actor who's worked extensively in theater. So he's another theater kid, independent films and television. Looking at some of his things that he's known for, he was he was in the HBO series Girls, and he played Mason Tanetti in The Sinners, or in The Sinner. He's also was recently in Wolfman. I didn't necessarily care for the movie itself, but I do remember enjoying him in that film. It says Sanctuary in here. I don't remember Sanctuary. Apparently, he was in Kraven the Hunter. Was he one? Oh, he was the villain, I think, or somebody that was like trying to hunt him down or something like that. But yeah, he was in Kraven the Hunter, and some other films. Catch 22. I do see Poor Things on here. I'm trying to remember if I had seen Poor Things or not, but definitely gonna have to check out a little bit more of Christopher Abbott's work. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is our team. So we got Storm, Jean, Professor X, Emma Frost, Cyclops, and Rogue officially cast. I'm hearing rumors that they're still trying to nail down their Iceman along with their Beast, and maybe some other roles as well to finish rounding out the rest of the team. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted in regards to when we get more information. I would expect we've got New York City Comic Con, I believe, later in the fall. So maybe Marvel Studios might have some sort of a presence there, and if they are able to land some other actors and other roles, maybe they make more casting announcements at New York City Comic Con. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But let us know how you guys are feeling about some of these cast members. We got Double C in the house saying toy sales will be insane.
Oh,
yeah, they probably will be for sure. Let's see here. Marcelina says this will be Maya Boyd's first ever movie project. Yeah, she really doesn't have any big time films or anything under her big time productions under her her resume at all. Double C says, I wonder who will play Gambit. I'm actually not expecting Gambit to be in the first film. I'm kind of expecting Gambit to maybe be in the second one. I really am thinking that they are sticking with the original classic X-Men here in the sense of Cyclops, Jean, Iceman, Angel, and Beast. And then they're going to start peppering in some other characters also. Like Rogue, I don't believe she's going to be part of the team. It wouldn't surprise me if she's actually maybe the villain or being used as the villain, if you will. Storm being in, I'm curious if she's going to actually be in the X-Men movie first. There have been talks that she's going to maybe make her debut in Black Panther 3, as Ryan Coogler did have the opportunity to help cast Storm. So I kind of expect her to be in Black Panther first before I see her in this X-Men movie, but who knows? So there's a part of me that thinks that there are some other characters that are eventually going to be debuted after this X-Men movie in other MCU films or maybe future X-Men movies. So I'm thinking they might wait on Gambit, Stuart. But what about you? Do you think that we'll see Gambit the very first X-Men movie?
No, I'm 100% with you. I think they're going to wait at least until the second movie. But yeah, I don't think we'll be getting him in the first one.
Marcy says Indy Neverready is one of the few CW stars to actually become a big Hollywood name. Sorry, Steven.
Yeah, I think she, what's cool is I think that she can actually kind of go back a little more towards the Sarah Cushing kind of character for someone like Rogue. Not saying just do exactly what she did in Superman and Lois, but I'm saying that like she could play like kind of a more relatable, like kind of younger person just trying to fit in. I feel like she could like kind of channel some of what she used to play Sarah Cushing into that for Rogue.
Tony Robinson says Kaylee Spaney fans will make people not like her because they hate being too disrespectful to Indy. Oh, because they're being disrespectful to Indy. Yeah, I mean the switch up is crazy. I mean, you should see the switch up on Twitter right now. I mean, people were praising this woman for Obsession, but the moment that she wound up getting a role that people thought was going to be Kaylee Spaney's, it's like they're burning it down already, man. They're trying to burn down Indy Neverready's fame immediately. So yeah. Let's see here. Marcelino says, given Maya Boyd's age, I doubt we'll get a Black Panther and Storm being a couple. How old is she? Maya Boyd age. Oh, she's 23 years old. How old is David Johnson? David Johnson age. He's like 22, right? Oh, he's 32. Oh, David Johnson's 32 years old. Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah. That's what's that? 9 years, about 9 years difference. Yeah. Well, yeah, probably. That's probably not the route they're gonna go, but who knows? I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. Yeah, like assuming the MCU goes on for like 10, 20 years, it could happen eventually.
Keegan Lucas says, I'm optimistic for Feige's X-Men, even if the casting seems to have a lukewarm reception online. I think it's because a lot of the people are kind of unknowns for the most part. But I think once people start being introduced more to their work, they'll probably come around. I think Samara Weaving's great. I'm a big fan of Sadie Sink, and Indy Never Ready just really blows me away. So, 3 out of the 6 ain't bad. I still want to learn a little bit more about Maya. I think I'm going to be really impressed with her. I don't think I've really seen much of Kit Connor, or some of the roles I have seen Christopher Abbott were maybe a little bit forgettable for me. So, I'll dive a little bit more into both their careers for sure. But guys, definitely let us know your thoughts in regards to how you're feeling about our X-Men cast that was in fact revealed, and then the Adam Driver as part of as Mr. Sinister, golden. I just a great choice. I'm so glad that they wind up landing him, and I think he's going to do wonderful things. But that was not the only thing that Marvel presented us with, Stuart. We actually had ourselves a Avengers Doomsday trailer that wind up dropping later on that evening. They did also give us a brand new poster to accompany the brand new trailer that wind up dropping over at D23. I do believe that this is actually the same. I believe this is the same trailer that they showed at San Diego Comic-Con for those in attendance. So I am kind of curious as to I don't know if they actually added any new things or not to this trailer, but I'm trying to see if I can pull it up here. It's not letting me. My Facebook page is acting all kinds of funky right now.
Lagging?
Give me a second.
Just like all
it's just kind of lagging a little bit in the sense of it's not playing the X-Men with there we go. Okay. All right. Because I want to go ahead and play the trailer. I'm assuming you've watched it, Stuart?
Oh yeah.
You have seen it? Okay. Let me go ahead and pull this up for everybody because I do want to watch it together. All right, let's go ahead and bring up this. This is the Avengers Doomsday trailer. Let's go ahead and watch this together, y'all.
Victor was always the smartest guy in every room. He used to be different. He used to be kind, he used to be caring. And then everything he loved was taken from him. I knew he was lost, but I did not realize that he was broken.
I love this camera shot. I love that camera shot of how it's like upside down and then kind of like angles itself to introduce us to Dr. Doom. I'm even trying to look at what's on the background on the floor. It looks like he's got runes inscribed on the tiles, but this costume looks fucking banger.
Victor, did you do this? All of you have lived stolen lives. But now you must give them back.
Answer me, Victor! Did you do this? I swear, you will beg for hell long before I grant it.
Hell answers to me. For I am Doom.
I love his voice.
I will say, a lot of concerns when they announced Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. But one thing I can safely say just from the teaser alone, he is definitely not just like phoning in this performance. Oh my God, just the way he kind of delivered that. I absolutely loved it. I am Doom. So yeah, I think visually they got Doom right. You know, you mentioned the costume earlier. I think it looks absolutely incredible. And I love that this is kind of the first time we're actually seeing like a live action Doom who's actually like kind of a sorcerer, like he is in the comics. And I'm sure he's still gonna, of course, you know, be the scientist because they constantly refer to him as the smartest one in the room. I am so glad that they went with what a lot of people were theorizing and what I think was like probably leaked already, but the fact that he comes from the Fantastic Four universe and therefore actually has history with the family from Fantastic Four. There was part of me that was worried that Doom was just going to be from another dimension, unrelated to either universes, and yeah, he was just going to be this guy they introduce. So I'm so glad that there's at least like a little bit of history between him and the Fantastic Four. The other thing too, I love the line "stolen lives" because there is so much that could be referring to.
Yes.
Captain America or Steve Rogers should not be living the life that he is currently living. There's also Thor with his daughter, and then the entire cast of X-Men. I mean, there's been so much time travel that's happened in that universe. They're all supposed to be living in a post-apocalyptic universe run by
I would even say
Sentinels.
Loki. I would even say Loki too.
Oh, Loki as well. Yeah, for sure. So it's like there's so many that he could be referring to. So I'm really excited to see, what, like specifically what gets mentioned about their stolen lives. And hell, you could even, because you could even debate same exact thing if Peter Parker, the Tobey Maguire Peter Parker's in this movie. You could almost say the same thing about him and Andrew Garfield, since like their lives are completely different now that Spider-Man has completely changed their history by curing all their villains before, they were supposed to be cured. So you got to imagine they have a completely different universe than the one that we last saw them in, if they're in this movie, which again, we still don't technically know for sure yet. What else? There was one more thing about the trailer. I'm sure it'll come to me later. But yeah, overall, like I like that this shows me just enough to actually get me intrigued. The first trailer, my first thoughts of the movie was, I wish I could be hyped for this. It just didn't hype me the same way that this trailer did. I think this trailer showed me just enough to get me excited, but I still not enough to like make me be able to predict the entire movie. Like I still have so many questions that are unanswered, and I'm really excited. Wolverine's another example of someone who is probably living a stolen life, because there are two Wolverines living in the X-Men universe. So again, I'm hoping that like the implication of that line is deeper than I hope it's as deep as I'm thinking, or I'm hoping that there's a deep meaning behind it, and that it refers back to like the fact that a lot of these characters are basically living lives that were non-existent in another reality in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think it immediately connects Doctor Doom to the larger concept of the multiverse, in the sense that he does play a bigger role in regards to how this multiverse saga actually sort of unfolds. And I think the fact that he mentioned things like stolen lives, like I immediately think of like variants and just the different, I go back to the Loki series and like the TVA and the Sacred Timeline and how things kind of just branch out and stuff, right? Like I view a lot of those as like, stolen lives that Doctor Doom could possibly be referring to. So the fact that they put him in that position definitely feels like he's going to be a force when it comes to the multiverse. I would agree with you too, Stuart, in a sense that even though I enjoyed the first trailer, this trailer is so much better to me. I think the added dialogue, especially from the Fantastic Four, I think just carries a lot of weight and gravitas to it. Just us recognizing the idea that, okay, there is there is a past here between everybody. And when I watch this trailer, to me, it feels like this, like even though it's titled Avengers Doomsday and we look at this as an Avengers movie, to me this is a Doctor Doom movie, you know, in the sense of like you might as well have just called this movie Doctor Doom like you did Joker or Clayface, right? Like I think that's exactly what this is gonna be. The telling of Doctor Doom's story, you know, his origins, his motivations, what's causing him to do all these things. And I think that's really helpful considering the fact that most people, I don't want to say most people, but some people legitly or, you know, incorrectly feel a disconnect from Doctor Doom being a part of this MCU story after it's been this huge multiverse saga for such a long time, and maybe feeling like they haven't necessarily had proper buildup. You know, I think this movie works the same way that Infinity War worked for Thanos, in the sense that Thanos, it finally gave us a backstory to Thanos, his true motivations. Like, even though we might have seen him cameo in a couple of things, we might have learned a little bit more about him from Gamora and things like that in Guardians of the Galaxy. For the most part, he was always a pretty clean slate in regards to who Thanos was when we actually got into something like Infinity War. And so to kind of see this idea of Avengers Doomsday really fleshing out and making Doctor Doom a very meaty portion of the story that's being told, and not just there to be just a insert villain here type of thing. The fact that we are going to see that background and the relationships between him and the Fantastic Four. And mind you, RDJ acting opposite of Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal. Like, what? Like, just Pedro's delivery of "Did you do this?" You know, I'm just like, bro, there's some animosity, like there's a built-up animosity between these two, right? You know, the fact that Doctor Doom probably stole his kid also, you know, like it's personal, and you can feel it when you hear Sue and Reed both talk about Victor in that way. And so to me, this feels very much like this is a Doctor Doom movie, where I think Secret Wars will probably feel more along the lines of, now that we've got Doctor Doom's story out of the way, now it can feel more like a concrete Avengers film for Secret Wars. But when I watch this movie, Stuart, the one thing that stands out to me is this is a Doctor Doom movie. Like, let's not make a mistake about it. This is a Doctor Doom film for sure.
I do hope so, because that's what worked about Avengers Infinity War, is like the way they utilize Thanos' screen time in Infinity War, I still think was absolutely brilliant. They gave him basically a full-on hero's journey arc, and the Avengers were essentially, you know,
that's Doomsday,
the antagonists of Thanos, you know, in a lot of ways. So I could definitely see them going that exact same route with Doctor Doom. And we saw this concept art a while ago that got leaked, and I think looking back on it,
from a Secret Wars film?
Yeah, I think it had to have been from Secret Wars, because the theory of how this movie is going to end does make a lot of sense. Doom wins, completely rewriting all of reality, which would lead to, you know, the Secret Wars, what we see, which is like a completely different Earth, a completely different reality. So I kind of hope that ends up being kind of accurate to this. Like, this is how we kind of shift into this, you know, this is how it kind of like leads into Secret Wars. Yeah, I think that it looks incredible. And I'm actually hyped for it again. I'm excited. I'm happy to be hyped.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I will one says chills. Yeah, it gave me some chills. I did post my reaction to watching the trailer up on the channel if you want to go ahead and check it out too. I clipped it from my Friday evening show, and I just posted my reaction as my own individual reaction to the trailer. So go ahead and check it out if you haven't had the opportunity to. But this shit made me hype, man. It made me hype for sure. Kiki and Lucas says there's a TVA interaction at D23 that you can see online with costumes from Doomsday, worth checking out. Thanos thought he was right and had an ideology. Doom just wants damage and revenge. Yes, clearly something got taken from him. It'll be interesting to see what that something was. Marceline says, where's Gaia from Secret Invasion? Why should I be scared of Dr. Doom when Gaia has the power of all the Avengers? Amen to that. Yeah, where is she?
Like,
where is she?
I feel like they're just going to low-key decanonize Secret Invasion, and they're going to be like, no, that show just takes place in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. universe. It's not part of Marvel canon.
Yeah, they're like, let's not talk about Secret Invasion ever again. But yeah, guys, let us thoughts on the Avengers Doomsday trailer. If there's anything in particular that really stood out to you, we certainly would love to know. We will stay in the world of the MCU, though, Stuart, because VisionQuest was also in the news here this week, as we got ourselves a brand new poster also, which, if you ask me, looks fantastic. Get an opportunity to see James Spader along with Paul Bettany here. It definitely has the vibes of the WandaVision poster, if you ask me, a little bit, with the dual sort of black and white or color type of thing, but this is kind of going in between sort of like their actual forms and their human projections. But this series is set to go ahead and drop October 14th, so we are about 2 months away from VisionQuest. This is from the studio that brought you WandaVision and Agatha All Along. They really are promoting this very much as the end of the trilogy, the WandaVision trilogy here. Stuart, have you seen the trailer for this one?
I have indeed.
Let's go ahead and rewatch it real quick and give some of our thoughts on it. I did not do an individual video for some of these, so let's go ahead and share our thoughts. But this is VisionQuest's trailer.
Before you started working here, I remember when you'd come in all the time with that redhead.
I was a different person back then.
How about now? Anyone waiting for you tonight?
No. Home is just me.
It's like I'm losing my...
You know, I will say I kind of dig the idea that Wanda pretty much created this whole world, if you will, and we have Vision kind of doing the same thing, but this time just simply in his mind, and I find that pretty dope, actually.
Yeah, we have Vision, doing it in a more responsible way that doesn't completely ruin other people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who am I? I was an Avenger, but I'm not a hero anymore. I have his face, but not his virtue. All I have is his name.
Welcome home, Vision.
This house is getting crowded, Vision.
Ultron! Human avatars only.
Sir, I cannot overstate the dangers of keeping him around.
Yes, but he is
Dad? Papa? Peepaw?
I'm a stranger to myself. That family wasn't real.
You sure about that?
I don't. Hold on.
I'm a stranger to myself. That family wasn't real.
You sure about that?
For some reason, when I watch this scene, I don't know why I get like Emperor Palpatine and Anakin Skywalker vibes. Like,
oh my God, yes.
Like, that's just what I get. Like they're watching the opera or something like that on Coruscant. I don't know why.
Oh my God, that is brilliant. Did you ever hear the tragedy of Dr. Doom?
But I will say I kind of dig the idea of all these AIs that are within Vision having to replicate themselves in human form. So we see Friday, I believe that's Friday there. And then is either Friday or Edith. It's one of those. I can't remember, is the female. And then we've got Jarvis. And there were two other people standing beside him that I think people are saying are the robots from Tony Stark's lab, the hands and things like that. I believe that might be them in their form. And I don't believe I think Jacosta's supposed to be in this series also, but I don't think we see her in the trailer in a human form or whatever the case may be. But I am fascinated by this. But let's continue.
I had a father, a machine called Vision.
Muzzle tough. It's a boy.
How is this possible?
Free us all and save your son.
I wish to understand my purpose.
With a genocidal maniac inside your head.
Nothing bonds a family together quite like mortal jeopardy.
But that is VisionQuest, ladies and gentlemen. Streaming October 14th, wrapping up the trilogy that started with WandaVision, Agatha All Along, and VisionQuest. You know, I will say, I think for me, one of the things that really stands out to me that I find fascinating, like the style of filmmaking in here. First off, super clean, super sharp, just looks really crisp. I really love the way, like, visually that it looks. But there is, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I get some vibes of WandaVision and Agatha All Along in here, mixed in with like a really cool sci-fi element to make it feel genuinely like a Vision series. I don't know if they purposefully meant to do that, but the different vibes that I'm catching and how it's all being worked together feels really trippy, but at the same time, like, it feels like something that fits the character Vision really well. I also really like the idea too that clearly the other AIs feel some type of way of having Ultron around, and I love the fact that there's a brief moment in here where they try and explain to him, like, you know, there's an issue with having him around, and instead of saying because he's a sadistic villain or whatever, Ultron then says, why? Because I'm your father, like Peepaw, you can call me Peepaw, sort of thing. But it's really highlighted even when you see, I believe that's Tommy, his son, in there, that talks about having a maniac in his brain, sort of thing. So, I this feels very much like a story, and I think they've hinted at this too in some interviews, definitely about a family generations and lineage, and whether that be from father to son, whether that be the sins of the father coming down to the son, or whatever the case may be, or maybe having to cut off ties of generational trauma that certainly might have come before. It feels very much like it's one of those things, like Vision is kind of holding on to any remnants of a life that he has in regards to, viewing Ultron sort of in that way as a father, as a dad figure. But how does that influence his thoughts and his minds and his actions? And are the other AIs really trying to help separate Vision from that, so maybe he can kind of embrace his own life for the very first time, or really, like, be able to give all of himself and have a bond with his own child, instead of sort of that father and son experience that he's kind of dealing with too when it comes to kind of Ultron. It kind of reminds me a little bit of, I don't want to say Lanterns in that sense, but right, like the Guardians' worry of Lanterns of, what did Hal learn from Sinestro, and like what are some of the teachings that Sinestro might have taught Hal that Hal is still holding on to. I kind of wonder if that's the same thing with Vision and Ultron. Like, what remnants of Ultron are certainly still remaining, and are those remnants that he's holding on to preventing him from fully embracing his future, and being a father figure to somebody else because of some of that generational trauma that he's kind of certainly still holding on to in his lessons from Ultron. So I don't know, but I will say from the trailer alone, I find the relationships really fun and fascinating all at the same time. And so I'm kind of locked in, Stuart. I think they really sold me on this trailer.
Yeah, man. I mean, this whole show looks like it's just going to be like a question of identity to me, because you have the fact that, like, the Vision that we're watching isn't even the same Vision from Avengers or anything we've seen. It's completely rebuilt from the ground up, as they kind of even had that debate at the end of WandaVision. It's I can't remember the ship name, but it's that debate of if you slowly replace the rot with new parts to a ship, is it still the same ship? And then vice versa. If you take nothing but the rot from that ship, you try to rebuild it with those original pieces, is it the same ship? So I could see that like being a huge thing that gets debated about with with himself, I guess, and all the other AIs living in his head. I'm very curious though how he ends up getting all of those different AIs in his head, like if they were always linked together, or if this is something he just kind of like does now that like Tony Stark is dead and no one's really and now I guess it's like the Avenger. No, I guess it would be the new Avengers that probably own all of his old stuff or something. So I'm wondering like how he gets them all in his head. I'm also wondering, when it comes to his son, so it's interesting, first of all, that we only get one of them and we don't get the other one from Agatha all along. So I'm curious if he'll show up. Yeah, I'm curious if Billy will show up by the end of this season.
hope so.
Same. I really do. But I do like that we first get Tommy. But my question is that, like, is Tommy going to see him as his dad? And I ask this because, like, his creation, Vision wasn't really part of his creation per se, because like Wanda literally created them both, including and Vision on her own with magic. And I don't really know like if you can say that like Vision is actually like his dad in that sense, because it's not like Vision had any say in the matter, and it's not like Vision took any part in making either of them. So it's that kind of question I have of, is Vision like, is Tommy gonna see Vision as his actual father or not? So I feel like there's some interesting questions there. I did love the scene, because one of the first things that really concerned me about the show was learning that we were going to be getting Ultron back, and that the actor was coming back to reprise him, but that he was mostly like 90% of the time going to be James Spader form, basically in human form, which to me is like the most un-Ultron like kind of move you could make for that type of character, since he absolutely is revolted by humanity. In fact, my buddy Alex back in the day, back in 2015, did not like the Age of Ultron movie. Specifically, he didn't like Ultron himself, because Ultron looked way too human compared to like in the comic books, where his form looks a lot more ant-like than it does human-like. And so that was like one of his disappointments in that movie because of that. And so like years later, now seeing Ultron in an only human form, it just seemed even more kind of out of character for Ultron. But now having this in-universe explanation where it's like he's not human because he wants to be, he's human because Vision's kind of making him be in a human avatar. And I do love the meta kind of humor behind that, because let's face it, Vision's line was, hey, human avatars only. But really, it was Disney executives being like, hey, we don't have the budget for this expensive CG.
I will say, but I do love the idea that he's seemingly reluctant to still be that human avatar. I mean, even though he knows the rules, he's still walking around as Ultron and has to be reminded clearly. I'm sure this isn't the first time he's had to be reminded. So I think there is a reluctancy for him to show himself as human. So I think it still holds true in that regards.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that it'll be like one of those things where he's constantly like in his Ultron form whenever Vision's like not in the reality, in the virtual reality.
Wouldn't that be some shit if he's like bullying the other AIs while when Vision's not around? That'd be some crazy shit.
That would be funny as hell. Also, man, I gotta say, if you're able to create your own reality from the ground up, and you're an android, which means you probably don't need like food and water and substance or anything like that, it's got to take some incredible willpower to eventually leave that reality, because it sounds like he lives two lives. He lives the life, inside his head, whenever, like, I guess he's not working or anything, but then he actually has like a social life outside of that. It looks like he's working at a bar now that he used to attend as a customer with Wanda. So it's interesting. I imagine like if you can stay in that reality with zero consequences, it's got to take immense willpower to be able to leave that reality and then go into the real world. So that's another thing I'm curious if they're going to explore with this Vision. I think there is just so much potential in terms of like how they could write Vision's character, what aspects of him they can explore. I feel like this show definitely has a lot of potential, and I think that's like some of the stuff that they always have done with his character in the comics. It's why like when it comes to like story, it's funny because when it comes to real life AI, I'm very much like I hate this. When it comes to stories about fictional AIs, though, like actual AIs, slight tangent. I think we need to stop calling our AIs. We need to start calling it VIs because it's not a real intelligence. It's a virtual intelligence, not artificial. But yeah, if we're going with sci-fi AIs, I freaking love sci-fi AI stories. Like I absolutely love those type of storylines, like Data from Star Trek, the Geth from Mass Effect, etc. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I'm really excited for VisionQuest for sure. That's going to be again October 14th, everybody. So mark your calendars. We also got Nathan in the house. What's up, Nathan? Appreciate you coming through. Billy and Agatha are supposed to show up at the end, hopefully.
Ooh, okay.
Kiki and Lucas saying interesting to see what characters they choose to omit. I would assume from the trailer. Yeah, I'm still waiting for a Jocasta pop up in here, so we'll see. I'm now wishing that they would have just had him create his own fake family, his wife Virginia and children Viv and Vin. It could just have been all AI, just like this. Oh, that's true. He eventually, I think, in some of the comics, he does have like other children also. Tony Robinson says, "Do you think Agatha will be resurrected? Didn't she leave on the journey? Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot. She did end up leaving on the journey with Billy, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if she'll be resurrected or not, but if what Nathan says is true, it'll be interesting to see how she pops up with Billy in this show. There was a quick dark figure that we saw in this trailer. It was like a dark shadow figure, and then it like glitched out of existence. There's a part of me that wonders if that's Agatha and Billy trying to maybe reach out to Vision to like make him aware of something else, maybe on the outside of his virtual world going on. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. But yeah, let us know your thoughts. What else? That's not the only big trailer that we wind up getting. Also, we had also, if we switch over to Lucasfilm, Ahsoka is in the news. That's right, Ahsoka season 2. They wind up dropping this brand new, beautiful poster down below. You know, upon looking at this trailer, this poster more detailed, you know, at the bottom with the red, I don't know why initially I just thought that was some type of just like art design, like just color scheme, or you know, like something flowing down below in red. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But when you look at it, it's literally like people fighting. It's like an army, both sides. You've got the spaceships on either side. You got people with blasters, some with lightsabers in the middle. It's like an all-out war kind of design. I really dig this. I think it's kind of beautiful. And season 2 is such a drop at the very beginning of next year, January 20th, 2027. Season 2 of Ahsoka will be here. Did you check out this trailer also, Stu?
Of course I did. It's Star Wars. Of course I'm going to check out the trailers.
Love to hear. Let's go ahead and check out this trailer and then give our thoughts on it. So again, this is the first teaser trailer for Ahsoka season 2, premiering January 20th.
Tell me, Ahsoka. What troubles you?
You know, wait, hold on, Stuart. I gotta tell you something, man. You know, I saw this for the first time, and I don't know if I was supposed to be like, oh my god, like Darth Maul or not. But there's a part of me, I saw this and I was just like, really? Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know for most people this is pretty dope in regards to like a third lightsaber blade, but sometimes I think like I'm like, dude, it's too many blades, bro. Like, how do you logically fight with this thing? Like, I really gotta see it firsthand. Um, Conceptually, it's kind of cool, but I don't know why I start thinking of like lightsaber nunchucks, and I just start thinking of like really super over the top, elaborate. That's just like you're jumping the shark a little bit for me. But I don't know if that's just me when if that's me as the old crusty Star Wars fan that's being grumpy these days or not. If anybody else finds this cool though, please let me know.
For me, I just don't understand how it's a practical lightsaber or how you use it practically. It feels like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it'd be worth the effort.
The effort, right? Like, it feels like
yeah,
we're doing too much, guys, at this point. Like,
yeah, I'll wait and see like how it plays out in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think this is just that case of a little too over designed.
Yeah, a little bit too over designed for me. I mean, look, I'm maybe when we actually get into the fight and we see how it's executed, we'll be like, oh shit, like that's the coolest thing. I don't think it's gonna be Quimir, like the stranger headbutting a lightsaber to shut it off. I don't think there's anything cooler than that. But yeah, when I first saw this, I was just thinking like, all right, where's the 5 and 6 blade lightsaber at next? Like, come on, we're doing too much here, guys. But shout out to Ariana Greenblatt, who plays young Ahsoka. She's back this season, so I'm always happy to see that.
Troubles you. I'm always walking by your side.
Citizens of the glorious empire, I have returned. I took an oath to protect the empire. I therefore declare war on the Rebel Alliance.
I had a vision. What did you see? More.
Ooh.
More and more danger than I thought.
Balin claimed to have knowledge of a power.
Master!
One that could end wars.
Hey, we got Zeb.
A long
Finally.
time ago, I walked away from the Jedi.
This is your trial, Ahsoka. Take your time to decide.
Whoa.
Are you a Jedi? Or not?
Okay. All right, Dave. I do love that line. Are you a Jedi or not?
Or not?
I think that. Yeah, man. Ahsoka season 2, set for release January 20th. Stuart, thoughts on the trailer?
Absolutely fantastic. I think that I don't know if it's the VFX teams, they've stepped up or gotten a bigger budget, but like some of the space battles that we see here look absolutely incredible. Thrawn is like, it felt like they were kind of trying to get him into he was trying to figure out how he wanted to play the role in season 1, and he wasn't quite sure how to really capture that same feel that he had from the animated series from Star Wars Rebels. But here, oh my god, I think he absolutely nailed it. I love the fact that he refers to the New Republic as like the Rebel Alliance, like refusing to acknowledge that it's like actually like anything more than just like, like in his eyes, of course, like nothing more than just a simple terrorist group. So I absolutely love that. The lightsaber fights look like they're going to be a lot of fun. So happy to see Zeb and Ezra back together. I'm really excited to see their new chemistry that they're going to have, because they are, I mean, Zeb was really similar to how we saw him in Star Wars Rebels when we saw him in Mandalorian and Grogu, but Ezra is a completely different person from the last time we saw him in Star Wars Rebels. So I'm very curious what their chemistry is going to be like now that they're mostly like different people, as they've grown over the years. My biggest concern, though, is the scale of this is huge, right? And I'm all for that. But it's going to be really hard for the writers of this show to convince me that this huge conflict with Thrawn is happening and Luke Skywalker and Leia and Han Solo are not at the front of it. Like, that is the one thing that concerns me about this. Like everything going on with the Ahsoka side of the story, with her being far away, it makes so much sense for that to be completely disconnected with our main characters from the original trilogy. But now that we're getting into like a full-on war between the New Republic and the remnants of the Empire, I'm going to need some explanations on what Luke, Han, and Leia are up to, because if you try to tell me that Luke is just prioritizing training new Jedi over helping the New Republic, I'm not going to buy it. If you try to tell me that like Leia is taking maternal leave because she's pregnant with Ben, I'm not going to buy it. There's not really any explanation I can see this show giving that's going to make me go, oh, okay, it makes sense that these characters aren't as involved. So that's where my biggest concern is. I did really like the brief moment that we got with what was his name, Bale, right? Because unfortunately the actor from season 1 passed away, so now we have him being played by the same actor that played the Hound from Game of Thrones. And I think like visually he looks the part like absolutely perfectly. I think he's going to do an absolutely a great job in that role. Very sad we lost the previous actor, but I am really looking forward to seeing how he steps into his shoes. And I'm hoping that because we had a whole season of buildup when he's like, I'm after something that like is so mysterious, I'm after power. We've had a whole season of buildup for this. If the payoff is underwhelming, I'm going to be disappointed, because holy shit, an entire season of, oh, trust me, what I'm looking for is really cool. You just got to take my word for it. After a whole season of that, if what we get isn't as cool as he's like building it up to be, I'm going to be really disappointed. And I'm sure it will be, because it looks like it ties into the father, daughter, and the son from the Clone Wars series. So I'm assuming it's got to be tied to that whole like cosmic planet from the Clone Wars series. But yeah, like overall, very optimistic about season 2. Season 1, I didn't mind, but I won't deny was quite underwhelming compared to what I'm sure a lot of people were expecting. I can also see it being really hard for to catch a new audience, because I mean, Ahsoka season 1 was basically Rebels season 6, essentially. It felt more like it was a continuation of Rebels than it was a direct continuation of where we left off for Ahsoka. So I could see that being a real challenge for newcomers to get into. Kind of like how I constantly will refer to Picard season 3 as Next Generation season 8,
Oh yeah. No, this definitely. I mean, just looking at the trailer again, I mean, this feels again like Rebels season 7 though. Now when I watch it again, I will say, visually, I think this trailer looks really stunning. Like, I'm really impressed with how it looks visually. I am hoping that from a directing standpoint, Dave Filoni is definitely going to be taking a step forward. I even think color scheme wise, first off, it does feel a little bit darker, I think, than even season 1 was. But color scheme wise, it feels like it's Dave Filoni kind of adding a little bit more of his animation vision behind things at times, especially some of the war pieces that we wind up getting. I get like Attack of the Clones vibes sometimes from some of the things that I'm watching. Really love the idea that we've got some flashback sequences again from the Clone War period. Also, Hayden Christensen certainly returning as Anakin. I saw somebody on Twitter complaining like, wait a minute, so he like hangs out with Ahsoka all the time, but he can't visit his son, he can't visit his daughter at any particular point in time. He's forced ghosting for everybody except for his family.
I mean, he force ghosted for his son at the end of Return of
I
the
know,
Jedi.
but my man is like, he's everywhere in Ahsoka now. He's gonna be, it feels like he's popping up all the time. But that reference just kind of made me laugh a little bit. But I'm really glad to certainly have him back in here. And from some of the things that I've heard, this space battle is not like one episode. I feel like it would not surprise me if this space battle is just reoccurring, if not throughout the entirety of this season, then at least maybe like half the season is kind of the vibes that I'm getting. So it wouldn't surprise me if we're dealing with, Ahsoka and Sabine kind of on a mission, all at the same time, parallel. There's like a raging war kind of going on in the galaxy. But you do bring up a good idea. I never really thought about that in the sense of like, if Luke can show up in the Mandalorian and Grogu, or in the Mandalorian, to go ahead and pick up Grogu and save everybody in that regards, in that instance, from a bigger galactic perspective, with a war breaking out here with Thrawn, there's a part of me that kind of expects them to pop up in here, or at least Luke to some capacity or another. We'll see what Dave Filoni kind of has up his sleeve, but I think that's a really good points to it, right? Like, we haven't gotten to that point in Luke Skywalker's life where he's a little bit more jaded, or he's made his mistakes and he's getting into his reclusive mode. It doesn't feel very much like that. I mean, we're still very much young in Luke Skywalker's career, so it feels like he would be involved in something like this. But I also feel like that's kind of like a surprise that Dave Filoni would really like just not talk about, and film everything on the volume to kind of keep cameras away and try and hold off on secrets as much as she possibly can. But look, I will say, I am gonna watch this season. My girlfriend saw the trailer for this season, and she's hyped for the return of Ahsoka. I think she enjoyed the first Ahsoka season, but she's also not somebody that I think really watched a lot of Rebels, so she doesn't really have that connection to the Rebel stuff, whereas some people that have, I can understand the underwhelmingness of season 1, but season 2, you've got me intrigued, Dave. You've got me intrigued. We'll see what winds up coming out of season 2, but I'm hoping for leaps and bounds in regards to improvement for the writing and directing. From a directing standpoint, I think I can see improvements already from just the trailers. The writing is still to be determined. We'll definitely have to see how some of the dialogue sounds, how some of the character arcs work, how he balances everybody. But the idea of having Zeb in this season, because I don't think he was in season 1, if I'm not mistaken, but the fact of having him here and having him, I'm hoping it's a combination of Zeb along with why am I dropping his name now? Damn it, Adam. Ezra along with Chopper.
Yeah.
I think there's more Chopper. If I can get like the trio of them on these kind of missions that they're going on, I think that'd be kind of cool to follow them as a group. So we'll see. But yeah, guys, I want to know your guys' thoughts in regards to Ahsoka season 2's trailer.
Oh man, I can't believe I didn't think of this until just now. The other thing too is that Ezra is going to be meeting oh crap, what was the Jedi's name from Rebels? His mentor. Oh man, hang on, let me look it really quick. Jarrus, like, was it
Kanan?
Kanan, yeah, that's right. Kanan Jarrus, right? Yeah. He hasn't met Kanan's son yet. Ooh, that's actually a scene that I think I'm really looking forward to, is Ezra meeting his little boy, because I feel like there's got to be an emotional gut punch right there, because as far as he knew because he left before Hera even knew she was pregnant. So it's like his mentor, who he's always saw as like long dead for a while. At least like now he gets to kind of meet like a piece of his legacy, if that makes sense. So that's something I just thought about right now that I'm kind of looking forward to about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that definitely didn't come to my mind either until you brought that up. I want to bring up this comment real quick here. Hold on. because Kiki and Luca said, did you see Filoni's comments on the hunt for Ben Solo? He said it's not happening now. Have you seen this comment, Stuart?
Dave Filoni's comment?
Yeah.
No, but I kind of already assumed that was the thing, that it wasn't happening.
So check this out. Here's the interview.
Okay, what about the hunt for Ben Solo?
Someone was going to ask me that in this line. I'm surprised it took this long. So that's really cool, but we're not making that picture right now. That's all I can say.
Okay,
So that's what he says.
He's trying to do the Jedi mind trick of, I don't know, if you're going to do the Jedi mind trick, say something funnier than that, like you do not want to see the Hunt for Ben Solo movie, or you do not have any interest in the Hunt for Ben Solo movie, or something. Just like, we're not making it right now. Like, okay, what was with the Jedi mind wave?
So some people are saying because he's doing the Jedi mind wave that they are making the movie.
He's just trying to get us to forget.
Right, that they are making the movie. And what's even interesting, people are picking up on this idea that when Adam Driver made his announcement that he's going to be playing Mr. Sinister, people are saying that he actually, the video he recorded was himself at Pinewood Studios. He says he was waiting for everybody to be there, but he's like, I'm here by myself. Some people are wondering why he was at Pinewood Studios. And so we got people, some people are theorizing like, wait a minute, is my man making a secret Hunt for Ben Solo movie? Is he about to be? Is this like, I do wonder contractually if he's like, look, I will be Mr. Sinister if you give me my Hunt for Ben Solo movie. Like I'm wondering if he negotiated in that way. But yeah, some people are saying because he did the Jedi mind trick that he's actually implying that they might be doing the movie. I don't know, Stuart. What do you think though?
I don't want to get my hopes up too much. I think it was just he was nervous and that's why he did it. I don't think he was like intending anything. I'd love to be wrong because like I said, this is a movie I do want to see. I think it could really rectify a lot of the mistakes of Rise of Skywalker, and I would love to see that. I would love to see them do to Rise of Skywalker what Clone Wars did to the Star Wars prequels, But yeah, as of now, I'm going to say no, only because I don't want to get my own hopes up,
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Fed, certainly joining us here today. A little bit late. Hey, whenever you can make it, Fed, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for certainly coming through today. Fed says, I gave Ahsoka season 1 semi-solid 6.7 out of 10. I haven't watched the season again since the first time that I watched it through. What are your thoughts on the ship of the fan base have done for Sabine and Shin? I mean, if they want to, that's cool. I don't really care for it too much personally, but let's see here. Fed says Ariana Greenblatt would be happy to do more young Ahsoka. Yeah, I mean it's definitely her role now. So we'll see how if she gets any more opportunities after this one. And then last but not least, in regards to the D23 stuff, Stuart, Star Wars Starfighter was also back in the news here very briefly. They did go ahead and reveal to us a new logo design, which I love this logo design. I'm not even going to lie, for being honest with you. And they also went ahead and revealed to us some information in regards to Ryan Gosling's character a little bit more. This is from Empire Magazine. Star Wars Starfighter reveals Ryan Gosling's rogue hero character details at D23. As confirmed on stage, Ryan Gosling's rogue hero in Starfighter is called Cade Oberon, described as a guy from the wrong side of the galaxy whose fate is intertwined with the fastest starfighter ever built. That's the only information that they wind up having. I think in later interviews, let me see if I can find it again. They were talking with what's his face, Sean Levy, saying that they were one of the key influences for Star Wars Starfighter was the movie The Outsiders. He says, when the script was still evolving, we spoke about how the outsiders captured something about characters who were not the privileged ones. They're from the wrong side of the tracks. Our character in Starfighter are from the wrong side of the galaxy. And it's about these marginalized outsiders who find each other and have a shot at discovering heroism through their connections. So he's taking some influences from the Outsiders movie. You know, I will say, I know you didn't get the opportunity to see the teaser trailer. I would love to play the teaser trailer, but I have a feeling I don't think it's meant to be seen to the public. So I'm not trying to get this episode like the live just on us in the middle of it. But I will say, and I saw it, one, because somebody sent it to me. Second time I saw it was actually on Instagram, which I retweeted. So maybe go to our Instagram account and look at our retweets and see if you might be able to find it up there. But I will say, visually, it looks stunning. Like Sean Levy's style of directing feels like it was taken up a notch with this Lucasfilm budget. And it feels like his style of filmmaking just fits this galaxy beautifully. So from a cinematic perspective, I was really impressed with what I saw. I think Ryan Gosling also just fits into this Star Wars universe. He's just so cool, man. Like, he's just got this charisma and aura about him, especially when he's playing this type of rogue character. He flows right into it. Set designs, vehicle designs, just the way that they seem to be approaching this movie. When I watch it, I'm like, yeah, this feels like a Star Wars movie, and it feels like Sean Levy just magnified by 10 or 100. And so, yeah, first impressions, I'm pretty hyped for it. I'm not gonna lie.
I am looking forward to it.
But yeah, check it out if you guys haven't had the opportunity to do so yet. Hopefully it's somewhere around there for you guys. Kiki and Lucas says it's gonna be Drive in space. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie in years.
Yeah, it's been a minute. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts on some of the D23 Expo stuff. If there's anything else that's also being revealed as of today, or if there's anything in particular that you guys saw over the past couple of days so far, definitely let us know what you guys think. We definitely would love to continue to talk more D23 with you guys. But with that out of the way, we kind of will stick in the world of, in this regards, Lucasfilm and Marvel Studios, because we do have some really big things that are happening in regards to shifting of the focus of where Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm really want to go. You know, after everything that happened with the writer's strike and the actor's strike, the emphasis on quality over quantity has very much taken over. And I think people at Lucasfilm and even Kevin Feige himself at Marvel Studios will tell you, we definitely got ahead of ourselves. So much so now, the focus seemingly, Stuart, is turning away from live action television and focusing not only more on movies, but maybe even pushing more animation kind of going forward for both of these studios. So let's go ahead and talk about this. This is an exclusive report from Collider.com. Let me go ahead and pull up this image for us. VisionQuest could officially mark the end of an era for Marvel. It says Marvel has released 2 other series this year, Daredevil Born Again and X-Men 97, both of which have been renewed for new seasons, each confirmed to premiere before the end of next year. You've got VisionQuest. While it's believed that more shows were on the way after its conclusion, that is no longer the case, according to them. They say Collider has learned that after VisionQuest, Marvel Studios will be cutting back on live action Disney shows. This does exclude returning series like Daredevil Born Again and existing series with another season that has already wrapped filming, as well as the potential mini-series that may be developed under the Marvel Presents and the Marvel Spotlight banners. Marvel continues to trust the steady hand of Brad Winderbaum, who has been long head of the Marvel Studios streaming and animation divisions, but also recently promoted to further oversee comics and the franchise development. A move that arrived in May, just before a clear shift began to manifest in Marvel's future television plans. In fact, Marvel's CEO Kevin Feige didn't speak about the studio's television presence at all during the presentation, which focused entirely on the big screen features like Doomsday, along with Ghost Rider and Black Panther. Beyond this weekend for VisionQuest, considering the fact has been a staple of Marvel shows and announcements over the past couple of years, they really didn't talk about anything kind of going forward in the future. It says Collider previously heard that Disney shows like The Acolyte, Willow, and even Wonder Man as grand experiments to compete with other streamers like Netflix and HBO, but all three shows were canceled after only one season. Disney also has no new live action series planned at Lucasfilm beyond the second season of Ahsoka. Lucasfilm attempts to spin the small screen series like The Mandalorian into a theatrical film failed, unfortunately. Elsewhere, Disney Plus has halted development on the Power Rangers series, which we'll talk about a little bit more. It remains to be seen if Ryan Coogler's backed Animorphous reboot will be the next casualty of the streamer's strategy pivot. Disney is reportedly prioritizing animation over live action for the new for their two tentpole franchises, where series can be fast-tracked on a smaller budget. I'm trying to see if there's any other additional details. So it looks like they're trying to pivot away from the live action stuff and maybe make some more animation side for cheaper budgets. I do find this kind of fascinating, Stuart. I have some thoughts in regards to it, but I do want you to give your thoughts on this one first. How are you feeling about this potential news here?
Yeah. Before we do that, we got two we have two what do you call it? Chats with
super chats.
Super chats, that's what they're called. Yeah, sorry. Forgot what, I don't know why I blinked on that. What were Stu's grades for Ahsoka and Drive? I haven't seen Drive enough, recently enough to give it a rating. Like, I remember really enjoying it. I'm just gonna say 8.5 right now, but like that could change if I watch it again. Ahsoka, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 probably, and I'd say that as long as it's a C. I basically, if I was giving it a letter grade, it's a C for me for sure. And then, hey, Mickey,
what's up, Fed? Appreciate it.
Wait, Mickey, I don't know what that's referring to, but I'm right there with you, and we'll definitely talk about
I think he means like the Disney suits, like the corporate guys.
Yeah. Okay, Disney suits. I get it. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm right there with you. Then the suits at Disney need to bring that show, they need to uncancel it basically. But I have more thoughts on it. I'll get more specific when we get to it.
But yeah, how are you feeling about the VisionQuest stuff? Or I should say the live action, focus on live action instead of, or focus on animation instead of live action.
Honestly, yeah, I think they tried going way too big, way too fast, and they tried doing it all at once. I think stepping back from live action would be a smart idea for the time being. I think that I don't necessarily think they need to completely abandon live action for now, but I think that slowing down on it and then just thinking it through before greenlighting it, not just trying to greenlight something just to greenlight it. I think that's the smarter route to go. I also think, focusing more on animation is a good idea too, because so far they've been, absolutely nailing it with animations. I mean, you look at, the Star Wars Visions, the Tales of franchise, the Bad Batch, which I still still think is absolutely incredible. Definitely on par with the Clone Wars. And then of course, Spider-Man, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I'd say like and X-Men 97. I'd say like one of their few like misses was probably What If, but even then, What If had a very strong start, and even at its worst, even during season 3, there were still some episodes that were quite memorable at the very least. So yeah, I think focusing more on animation, slowing down on the live action side of things is smart. I'm also glad that they kind of low key confirmed my suspicion on why there was such a quality dip, which is Kevin Feige, or at the very least, I'm glad they confirmed Kevin Feige had less involvement later on because he was stretched so much thinner, because that had been my theory for so long. So it's cool to finally get that theory kind of validated through this article. But yeah, I think it's a smart move for now. Disney Plus isn't making them as much money as they thought it was going to. The one disappointment, of course, about this is shows that were kind of written to have another season. It sucks that those are the ones that are going to be kind of suffering from this. So even though Wonder Man, I didn't really end on like a cliffhanger or anything, I still feel like there was more story that could have been told with his show. So it is too bad that we're not going to be getting more of him, unless, we see him in other movies, which I'm sure we will at some point down the line. And then, of course, I mean, this was canceled long before it, but the whole thing with the Acolyte. I also don't like that for some of them, Disney, because they referenced Willow. I don't like that, if the show doesn't work, they decide to just completely take it off of Disney Plus. I think that was a mistake. I get why they didn't renew Willow, but they shouldn't have taken it off Disney Plus. I think that was terrible of them.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Couple other comments. Well, let me get to this other Kiki and Luca with another super chat. Crystal gave Ahsoka an F. Yeah.
Okay.
When we talked about Ahsoka a little bit, when we did our Ninth Jedi review, she was not pleased. She was not pleased with it. I don't remember her giving it an F. Maybe that's something she told you, but yeah, I mean, she definitely felt very displeased about it for sure. Marceline says, if Disney didn't have Star Wars or Marvel, would you still use Disney Plus for their other projects? Do they have any other good original works that isn't connected to any IP? Oh God, I don't know, man. I think the Marvel and Star Wars stuff definitely brings me to Disney Plus, but as far as like original series stuff, not really. I think it's all IP heavy.
I think, well, I mean, this is an IP, but it's not Marvel or Star Wars, so it kind of counts. I think I would be renewing it every time there was a new season of Percy Jackson, because I am really enjoying that show. But other than that, yeah, no, if it didn't have Marvel and Star Wars, then yeah, no, I wouldn't be using my Disney Plus too much.
Yeah, Tony agrees animation is the way to go. Marcelo says, does this mean that they'll put more focus on Percy Jackson and the rest of its sister book series? Yeah, I would assume so. I mean, I would assume that they continue to come back for more.
Especially because, yeah, the showrunners were originally going to be doing Power Rangers, and now that they're not, my guess is they might be working on other Percy Jackson-like spinoffs, because the book franchise had like a lot of spinoffs like that would cover other areas of mythology. Like Percy Jackson was Greek mythology, but then they also had like a franchise of books connected, but it was like focused on Egyptian mythology. So I could see them doing that with the show.
Yeah, I agree. Fed says, yeah, Percy Jackson season 3 trailer is fire. Yeah, I agree. I saw the trailer and I was really blown away by it. It made me mad though, Stuart. I'm not gonna lie. I watched the trailer for Percy Jackson season 3 and it made me jealous, because that should be my Power Rangers. That should be like visually, it's so freaking stunning. Like the amount of effort and budget that they put behind it. It's like that's what I want to see my Power Rangers show in, and I'm not gonna get that anymore. So it definitely made me feel some type of way. But I will say, as far as my thoughts on this, I'm split, Stuart. I'm so split. Because one, I do agree, the refocus of quality over quantity is something that definitely has to happen. I just don't know if it has to happen at the detriment of just not doing live action stuff anymore. Like, not to say that they're going to completely cut away from it, but one, Daredevil Born Again season 3 has wrapped. It's going to go ahead and drop. There's been no talk of a season 4. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Daredevil season 3 is the last season that we wind up getting. And I only say that because I don't think viewership has been that great for that show. And I feel like it continues to dwindle each season. And so I am kind of curious if Disney takes a step back and thinks to themselves, like, how much do we want to continue along with this show? Even though I am hearing rumors of a special presentation possibly being a Heroes for Hire, which would be really cool. I think if they continue to stick with those special presentations, I think that would be neat. I've heard rumors go from Heroes for Hire to the Young Avengers or a Champions presentation, or even special presentations for a way to introduce key mutants into the upcoming mutant saga before throwing them into an X-Men movie. I would be open to that. But there is just this idea of like, I want something like an Arrowverse again, or I want something like just individual television shows like The Runaways or Cloak and Dagger that just don't amount to, doesn't have to be connected to the bigger movies, but there's such a big catalog of Marvel characters that will never get the opportunity to see the light of day live action wise, because of things like this. While I understand the idea of like, hey, you guys spread yourselves really thin, I think what failed too because of that was the idea of everything having to be sort of homework, that you have to watch this in order to understand what's even going on in the movies. But I do think something like Wonder Man works, where I think they emphasize the idea that Wonder Man is its own standalone thing. Like, if you wanted to continue Wonder Man on his own, you could continue Wonder Man on its own. So there's a part of me that I would not mind the occasional live action series that just focuses on characters that are never gonna be in the MCU or have no shot of eventually getting into any of these big tentpole movies, that viewers can just jump on board and watch and not have to worry about the bigger continuity of it all. So while I do think animation is a great way to go, I'm very much looking forward to the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man season 2. But outside of that, I don't even know what other direction animation wise they may have set for the future. So while I appreciate them trying to reconstruct things and have a new game plan, and I really appreciate the focus on movies, I also think there should be an avenue where lesser known Marvel characters still get that opportunity to shine in some form of live action. I think that might have been their intention originally, and it just didn't work out for them when they tried to do this the first time. But I'm kind of on the fence in regards to how I feel about it, because I feel like it's missed opportunities. But yeah, I don't know, Stuart. I don't know how I feel about it.
You know what? I think the solution to this is they need to start slow. Don't do like a full-on Arrowverse in just 1 year. Obviously, I mean, like, start one show at a time. Wait a couple seasons, add another. But they should go back to long-form television. Something that you don't see from big companies anymore. I mean, like, technically, long-form television still exists, but like, it's always procedural dramas with like kind of your Law and Order type shows. So it's like I'd love to see, like, just bring back or bring like a character, not a lot of powers. We talked about this when reviewing Spider-Man with the Detective Wolf. Give her give some of the grounded characters, her, the Punisher, give them like a small, grounded spin-off show. You can still have like kind of the fun Marvel elements in there, but like if you're not focusing on it, as long as you're focusing on like the characters and their like personal struggles, you could have like long form television again where the budget is modest, right? So it's not like you're gonna have like these huge movie like effects every episode. In fact, maybe just save it for like kind of like the season finale, maybe even season premieres, but through that you got to rely mostly on the writing. And that's the other thing too, is Disney, you got to like actually hire writers again. You have to have like a full writing team for a season, so that way you don't stretch the writers too thin or anything like that. But I think like that would be a good first step. We almost had that with Daredevil Born Again from the original story that they wanted to go for, which apparently Kevin Feige absolutely hated, so they made him reshoot the whole thing. But originally, I do remember when Daredevil Born Again was announced, they said 18 episodes were going to be in season 1. And obviously that completely ended up changing. It ended up being kind of your typical short form TV show like we're kind of used to nowadays. But yeah, I think a good first step, go back to long form. Find a character that's like fantastical enough to where you can have some fun fight scenes. You can have like these great like adventures, but like not fantastical enough to where it's like you wouldn't need like the biggest budget to shoot their effects or anything like that. I think like Heroes for Hire would be like kind of the perfect starting point. Like do that like a season long form, but just start out with that. Don't try to do like all the spinoffs like right away,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Nathan says all these studios have destroyed TV. That was where all the money came from. Now everyone has a streaming service. Fed says some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters deserve time in movies. I mean, we've been asking for this for like the longest time. We'll see if anybody ever. I've given up hope at this point. I don't even want to speculate anymore. Like I'm done with the speculation.
Yeah, I think that if anything, either Secret Wars or Doomsday would be the one to bring them in, because like to me, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stopped being canon after season 5. They just went into their own universe during season 6 and beyond. So the only way I could buy them coming into the MCU is if there was some like TVA stuff that happened. But because of that, though, I also have led to my fun fan theory, which is that Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. My headcanon is that show takes place in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. universe.
Ooh,
and that's why it's basically MCU adjacent.
I dig it. Nathan says the MCU created it all has to be connected. Fans lose it if it's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do dig it from a theatrical standpoint. A television standpoint, it's probably a little bit too much. Or at least too much with the amount of content that they were kind of pushing out. If they had maybe like one season a year or something like that, then maybe it wouldn't be so bad. But the fact that they had so much of it, so we'll see if they could. We'll definitely see if they can make it work.
And yeah, to me, I want to see the MCU constantly be connected, but just because it's connected, that doesn't mean the stories have to constantly tie into each other. I think there's a good balance where, it's all in the same universe, but you can, actually watch a TV show like Wonder Man and not be confused on what's going on in Fantastic Four. I know that was a terrible example because those two are not connected in any way, but you know what I mean? Like what they did with Ms. Marvel, and it kind of made it very confusing if you didn't watch her show when you went into the Marvels. Something right along those lines. I think that's where they should. And same exact thing with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I'm so sure that most people that went into that
if you didn't watch WandaVision, you were screwed.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm sure no one expected that WandaVision was required viewing for Doctor Strange. So that's what they need to not do. No required viewing when it comes to the TV side of things.
And you know what's even crazier? I wind up watching an interview with Elizabeth Olsen where she said she was in the middle of filming Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and even she was kind of confused at some of her own character arcs because she was like, "Well, this feels like we're rehashing things," and only to come to find out that like a lot of the people that were on the set hadn't even watched WandaVision or had even like known what had happened in WandaVision, because she was like, we're repeating a lot of the same things in this movie, sort of thing. And I'm just like, first of all, that's crazy. Like, how are you Kevin Feige and allow something like that to even happen, first and foremost? But it's pretty startling, man. It's pretty startling.
Definitely.
But Marvel and Lucasfilm were not the only one that are making some correction courses. Apparently DC Studios is kind of doing something similar, or at least struggling to try and get some of their slate that they had confirmed actually made, as it seems to it as though they too are putting a pause on some of their projects that they had in development or were certainly working towards. Let me go ahead and pull up this article. This comes to us from Entertainment Weekly. With DC puts the Amanda Waller series with Viola Davis along with the Wonder Woman spinoff Paradise Lost on the back burner. Here's updates in regards to both those shows. As DC prepares for the launch of its latest TV show this Sunday with Lanterns, two other planned projects hit the back burner. We've got Waller is no longer in active development at HBO. While the show was originally meant to be one of the first TV projects for the new era, it's no longer a priority, but remains in development at DC Studios. So it's just kind of in limbo right now. Paradise Lost, the Wonder Woman adjacent show about the Amazons on Themyscira, is now similarly taking a back seat at HBO, though we're told it could still see the light of day in the future. And, we have had reports, too, of James Gunn saying specifically for the Paradise Lost, like, it's an extreme development is what he said. Like, quote, it's an extreme development. So the idea that they're now saying it's now taking a back seat, though we're told it could still see the light of day in the future. Really interesting one. It says the Ankler was the first to report the news. Entertainment Weekly tried to reach out to HBO and DC. James Gunn announced both shows way back in January of 2023. Other shows revealed alongside Waller and Paradise Lost were Creature Commandos, Peacemaker Season 2, Lanterns, and Booster Gold, which they hear is still in development and on the hunt for a new writer. So there are still some aspects of it that are still happening. And then we also have a series focused on Jimmy Olsen that's certainly set to drop. Meanwhile, the adult animated show Mr. Miracle is coming down the pipeline. That's in active development, and they even announced Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner is set to go ahead and have a role in Mr. Miracle as well. So Nathan Fillion making his rounds and like being the anchor bean in the DCU, as he's like touching a little bit of every aspect of the DCU series wise. Yes, as though we haven't had a firm update on Waller in a while. As of late April, Gunn wrote on Threads that Paradise Lost was in extreme development. And now that has officially been put on hold as well. So how are you feeling about this one, Stuart? Did you kick off the last topics, or did I? I can't remember.
I think you did the last one. But
how are you feeling about this?
Disappointed, but I can't say I'm shocked, and that's only because of again, there's so much going on, with Paramount and all the stuff with the merger.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one of those things where when I heard these articles, I was not surprised in the least. Disappointed, yes. I especially really hope the Waller series ends up happening at some point. And at the very least, even if we don't get Waller in her own series. I really hope Viola Davis sticks around because I think she's like just the perfect actress for the character. And I love the way, James Gunn writes her. So I really hope we still get to see her around, basically as Waller in the future. I'm glad they're still going with the Wonder Man, the Mr. Miracle series, assuming that it's going to be animated, which, I mean, yeah, that's like a smart move. I do like the idea of keeping the animated shows going because it would be cheaper to produce. And, you also have like that creative flexibility of like, you're not limited to the budget, so you can do a lot more with it. But yeah, like as for like the other spinoff, Paradise Lost, yeah, definitely disappointed about it. But again, I can't say I'm shocked. In fact, I'm going to be honest. This one seemed like such an ambitious idea. Even when James Gunn first announced Paradise Lost, it was the first project where I said, I'm not sure if that's going to happen. So this one getting scrapped doesn't surprise me. And that's not me saying it wasn't going to be good or that it would have sucked. It's just me saying it was ambitious, and I'm not sure how they would have pulled it off. I'm sure they probably could have, but it would have been a really challenging series to do. So I can definitely see from an executive point of view why that would be a show you would want to scrap for sure. But yeah, I think that's the thing. The two ways the one way I can summarize my overall thoughts: disappointed, not surprised.
Yeah, that sounds kind of fitting. I would agree with you in regards to the Amanda Waller thing. Like, while I personally would love to see an Amanda Waller series, that is the show that I think I'm most okay with kind of taking a back burner on. But I will say, when you've got a talent like Viola Davis, I think it's important that you definitely try and still continue to make it work. But if they're not going to, that's okay. I don't mind that one. But I will agree with Nathan here that listen, people would have watched Viola Davis. I think they probably would have really enjoyed her in that role had they continued along with it. So, but that one has always been in like developmental hell. Like, I've never heard of that ever really truly moving forward. So that doesn't surprise me. The Paradise Lost one does surprise me, but I'm starting to think that it's like, because of the fact that it was an extreme development, but now it's like taking a back seat, but has the potential of being done at some point in time. This feels like a change of course in the sense of, how about we put a Wonder Woman movie first? I can see them maybe changing course to, instead of trying to get, flesh out this Paradise Lost thing, let's just try and get a working Wonder Woman movie done first, and then if they're capable of doing that, then maybe revisit Paradise Lost sort of as that prequel series after you've established at least one of the Trinity characters that a lot of people are certainly hoping for, right? I mean, I think we are at that stage now where, despite how well Lanterns might do, or even Clayface and Man of Tomorrow, I think there's an itch that people have to start seeing some bigger names. Not to say that everybody's against things like a Booster Gold show or Jimmy Olsen show, but I hear more pushback against those type of lesser known characters. And after what happened with Supergirl, I think people are kind of seeing the writing on the wall in the sense of like, we really need to get a Batman and Wonder Woman out there first. So if that's where the focus is now kind of shifting, I can see why Paradise Lost would be kind of held off to allow Wonder Woman to have that story and that film be told. But I do hope Paradise Lost is something that they do come back to, because the concept of it being Game of Thrones style, and even just a rich lore that we have for Wonder Woman and such incredible characters. Queen Hippolyta or Hippolyta, however she pronounced her name, Nubia, possibly, right? Some really great Artemis, some really great characters I think you can really tap into if you went that route. But maybe just a movement of focus to bigger characters before giving us some prequel style stuff. I also just do find it interesting that this just also feels in the sense of like, this merger is really kicking our ass. Like, this merger is really putting a halt to any major plans that we really had kind of moving forward. Like, one of the things that I will say is, like, especially when it comes to mergers, unless you are currently in a state of full-on active development, like I think, Mr. Miracle certainly is, and even maybe like the Booster Gold series is, unless you're in current active development, I don't think that there's going to be any big announcements coming out of DC Studios on new projects. Same thing with Jimmy Olsen. That's raring to start filming relatively soon. Their money is committed to those things, so I don't think that they're going to just cancel those immediately. So unless you're in active development, those projects will move on. But if you're not, I have a feeling all that stuff is just being like let's put a pause on things until we kind of figure out what our next steps are. And I do wonder, like, what mindset that puts people like Peter Safran and James Gunn when trying to run DC Studios, right? Like, you've got to make these calls. Do we do a season 4 of My Adventures with Superman, or do we not? After Man of Tomorrow, we don't even know if James Gunn and Peter Safran, they haven't even re-upped their contracts or their deals with Warner Brothers past 2027. So it's like, after he gets done with Man of Tomorrow, what does the future look like for the DCU? And are they stuck now having to wait till something like March for this antitrust trial, whether or not this merger actually happens, before they can push forward or green light sort of any other projects that they want to, right? Like, I gotta think that this is just tying their hands up incredibly, and has got to be just like so unfortunate, because outside of the Batman Part 2 and the Man of Tomorrow, we don't have anything announced past 2027. And so I think a lot of that is either trying to refocus itself and canceling some of this stuff, or it's the idea of we really just cannot move forward because of this merger. And I just find that really unfortunate, man.
Yeah, it screws over people working on both studios now, and we're kind of seeing the aftermath of that, especially with how long it's taking for it to either go through or fall through. Obviously, we're all kind of hoping for the fall through part, but we'll have to wait and see there. Yeah, so very disappointing, but I am still glad that there are some projects that they're still going through with. But yeah, I am very curious too, because after 2027, if the merger goes through, there's a good chance we may not see James Gunn as the head of DC anymore.
No.
So it'll, man, it's really interesting, because like just when DC, had that beacon of hope with Superman, last year, man, that hope, the corporate executives just kind of saw that hope and was just like, yeah, we're just going to hold on to that for now.
Mergers suck, dude. And, it does make me curious if James Gunn would even want to work for Paramount in this new merger situation, even if they offered him the role. It's just, it's a mess, bro. It's a mess. Let me see. Marcelino says many people say that that Amanda Waller doesn't work when she's the main character in her own show and works better as an antagonist. I mean, I don't know. We've never seen her in her own show, so I can't really say that's true or not. Some say that we should not be getting a Wonder Woman prequel before getting a Wonder Woman movie or casting announcement. I mean, that would make sense. I can see waiting off on Paradise Lost until you actually get a Wonder Woman movie. So we'll see kind of what happens here kind of going forward. But yeah, we'll keep you posted if there's any other news in regards to Marcelino says, yeah, I heard that DC is now prioritizing movies instead of TV shows. I don't even know what they're prioritizing, to be not honest right now. I mean, outside of Man of Tomorrow, there's like no other movie announcements outside of that. So who knows?
I'd be very curious if like that priority changes after tonight with the premiere of Lanterns, depending on the reception.
Yeah, we'll see. That's true. That's a good point. We'll see. There was a Lanterns topic I wanted to get into, but I think I'm gonna skip that for now, because I do want to go ahead and change course to some other big news here, and that is in regards to Power Rangers.
Real quick, just to let you know, unfortunately, I have to take off at around 1 o'clock. Yeah, sorry, I just remembered that I had something going on today. I totally forgot to bring that up earlier, so I apologize.
No, you're good. You're good. So we got Power Rangers live action in the news, not for the reasons that I think all of us were certainly hoping, but it's another crushing of our hearts as a united fandom here. As according to Deadline, apparently the Power Rangers live action series at Disney has officially been canceled. I'm trying to bring up the article right now, but it wants to be a pain in the ass for me. I don't think it's that. Have you seen this news, Stuart?
Yes, I had. I have I'll let you read the article first, but I have my own conspiracy theory on what's going on based on another bit of information that we've got. I'm assuming you've heard of the current project that Matt Damon is working on, right?
Yeah, I think somebody actually brought it up. I don't know if it's you can talk about it if you want to. I'll show you if I can try and find the comment.
Okay, so here's what I think is happening and why it's not going through. I think it's a little different than how other people are presenting it. In fact, I actually think it's a little worse than what people are suggesting. So there's a sci-fi movie coming out that's going to have Matt Damon in it. And essentially, it's supposed to be a Power Rangers-like movie where he's supposed to be a mentor for a bunch of people dressed up in color-coordinated superhero outfits, right? And very similar to Power Rangers.
And fighting kaiju, too.
Yeah, they're fighting kaiju on top of that, right? Very similar to Power Rangers. This is going to be produced by Disney. And this has led to fan speculation that it is because of this property that's coming out that Disney did not want to have another project that they were producing, so they didn't want to compete with themselves. I think it's a little more than that. And this is where, put on your tinfoil hats, because this is where I'm about to get super conspiratorial. In fact, I will say this. You know what? I will say this part actually after, but I will do something funny if it turns out that I am wrong. If I can get definitive proof that I am wrong about this, and I mean definitive, like I need some documents from either the studio executives at Disney or from the showrunners who were going to be doing Power Rangers. I need definitive proof that I'm wrong here, and I will eat my own underwear on camera because I'm sure this is what happened. All right. I think Disney was planning this movie for a long time, but they also knew that Power Rangers was out in the open, and any studio could be like, hey, Paramount, we want to make our own Power Rangers movie, or sorry, not Paramount, Hasbro. Anyone could just pay Hasbro a certain amount of money so Hasbro could license out Power Rangers to them. I think Disney knew this. This is something that studios do all the time. So I am like 99% sure this is what Disney did. They bought the licensing for Power Rangers. They never intended to make Power Rangers. They never intended this show to happen. They just needed all the legal documents to say that this show was in development in order to prevent any other studio from working on a Power Rangers project. Therefore, there wouldn't be anything to compete with the Matt Damon movie. That is why they bought it. They never intended to actually make this show. They wanted to give a quote-unquote effort, and then once enough time had come to where they knew no other studios would be able to make a Power Rangers project in time to compete with Matt Damon's movie, that was when they decided to cancel it. Okay, that is what studios have done in the past. If you watch Seth Rogen's show, The Studio, the first episode is literally that exact same scenario going on. Like, technically, it wasn't Seth Rogen's plan originally, but when Bryan Cranston's character found out about it, he asked, why did you do this? And that was the excuse Seth Rogen came up with. And Bryan Cranston, being, the head of the studio, was like, oh yeah, we do that shit all the time. That makes sense. Cool. So I am like 99% sure that is what happened. And if anyone can prove me wrong, I will eat my own underwear on camera because I am like that confident Disney is that scummy and that is what they did.
Please nobody clip this. Because
No,
I really
clip
don't.
it, clip
I
it.
don't.
Let some studio executives see this and go, oh, we're gonna make this asshole eat his own underwear on camera. I make this comment because I'm like 90% sure Disney has is never gonna see this. And even if they see this, they're gonna be like, oh, this podcast gets 20 views a video. There's no way anyone's actually gonna believe this crazy conspiracy theory. But no. I am so sure that is why Disney bought the license to Power Rangers. They bought it to prevent anyone from making it, and they never wanted to make it themselves.
So just holding it hostage in the meantime, while they're secretly building up their own quasi Power Ranger content, only to then drop it and be like, up. You guys can't use it, but we're gonna continue to do what we're doing. Okay, you might be onto something, Stuart. I don't think that's far-fetched at all, though. I don't think that's far-fetched at all. You might be onto something. But let's look at the actual article here real quick. This is from Deadline. Power Rangers live action series not moving forward. It says it's not proceeding with its live action Power Rangers series. It was set up for development at the Disney streamer about a year and a half ago. It will not be going past the developmental stage. According to sources, the reason for the past are not so much creative than they are business, aka budget related. Mounting a high-end live-action superhero series of the caliber of Power Rangers is a major investment, the economics of which are not as favorable when the streamer and or the producing studio do not own the IP, which is the case here. Power Rangers brand is owned by Hasbro, which has been looking to get a live action series adaptation off the ground, with Netflix taking a crack at it several years ago. Once forced focus entirely on exploiting Disney's property, Disney Plus has been increasingly opening its slate to outside IP, including making development deals for like Casper or Ella Enchanted over the past couple months. So really they're pushing back against the idea that economically, budget wise, Disney was not so sure on developing the series, especially based off of the idea of them not even owning the property itself. So they decided to go ahead. But I will say this.
And my
to
thing
me,
is, if that was the case, they wouldn't have gotten it in the first place. They wouldn't have rented it out or bought the license for it in the first place.
Right. I mean, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, well, that's just odd to me. It's just like you didn't know that it was going to be a major investment before you said, hey, yeah, Hasbro will work with you here. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, Stuart. So like, to me, I think this even like leans further into what you were talking about too, or hinting at the idea. Cause it's just like, I don't know how you sit with another company like Hasbro and agree to make a live action Power Rangers show, reach out and say, hey, we've landed these showrunners, only to then be like, oh, we really don't want to spend that type of money. Now, why are you wasting my fucking time, bro? That's what I would say. Is like, why are you wasting my time? Having me sit here for a year and a half and playing up this role of we're gonna make this project, only to then be like, oh, budgetary reasons. Get the fuck out of it. Like, I don't believe it, Stuart. Like you're making me starting to believe your conspiracy theory in that regards, in the sense of they knew they had a project with Matt Damon, that they wanted to do something, but they're like, we don't want anybody else to make a Power Rangers live action, so we're gonna say yes to Hasbro, even though we truly have no intentions. I mean, I think you're absolutely right, Stuart. Like that definitely like flows for this story, because this doesn't make any sense that you would accept this and then last minute be like, oh yeah, by the way, we didn't know it was going to cost us money to make this show. Of course it was going to cost you money. Damn, like, what are y'all thinking about? But then they have time to make all these other shows. But the idea of it not being their property, I can kind of understand that. But again, you knew it wasn't your property to begin with, and you decided on this deal. So I guess this really just puts the big question, Stuart, like, where does Power Rangers go from here? I mean, what do you think Hasbro should do with this property?
They should totally hire me to write a script. I got a fun pitch, take it, have it take place in the 90s like the original, have the 5 characters be the exact same as they are in the original series, except the high school and the environment is more realistic. So when you have like the goody two shoes main characters interacting with like kind of the more realistic high schoolers, it just makes for a really fun contrast. And it also makes it so you give the characters like an arc of, you kind of like give the characters this arc of not only is it hard to be good because you're fighting against evil, it's also just hard to be good when everyone around you is just a complete douchebag, That's the kind of movie I would make if I was doing Power Rangers. And then, yeah, of course, as cynical as that sounds, by the end of it, of course, there would be a very positive message by the end, of course.
For me, I'm of two minds. If Hasbro, my first thought is just sell the property at this point. I am okay if Hasbro does want to take a legit shot and actually try. I do like the idea of them doing something animation wise. I know previously under former CEO Brian Goldner, there were ideas for an animated series. I think I've even seen some people, maybe some like test art animation styles for a Power Ranger series at some point in time. I don't know if so I do think that they might have been testing it out at one point and then just shelved everything. But the animation side of thing I think is still possible. But at this point, I just don't know if I trust Hasbro to even care enough about the property to do anything with it. I just don't think it's a priority of theirs anymore. And so I would much rather them just sell it at this point. Some streaming services, because if it is that case that streaming services would much rather own the IP that they want to put a budget towards, the couple ones that automatically jump out at me, Apple TV is one of them. They do some really top-notch television series. I'm even open to the idea of Amazon maybe picking up Power Rangers if they want to. I think they're really heavy into like the 80s content right now. I think maybe something like Power Rangers, a 90s IP, and doing something new with it would be interesting. So I would be open to, Apple, Amazon, and there was even hell, I'll even be open to Netflix or even Disney picking it up if they wanted to purchase them. Or maybe even Peacock can do like an original series, right? So I think there are some, like, I would be interested to see if Hasbro were to sell the rights. There's a part of me that thinks that there would still be a pretty big bidding war for the rights. Like, I still think that people would fight for rights to own Power Rangers, to do something with it. But my top 3 would easily be Apple, Amazon, and maybe even Netflix. But outside of that, stay away from Paramount and Warner Brothers right now. Like, I don't want them to, like, they have bigger fish to fry right now, and I don't know if they would have their best interest in mind. So that would be my first choice, would be just sell the property. But Hasbro, if you're not going to sell it, then try and do something animation wise. Otherwise, I'm kind of done, man. I'm kind of done.
Oh yeah, same here. I'm sick. I'm sick of all these announcements of a new Power Rangers reboot, of it finally, coming back, and then only for it to just be once again canceled. This is like the 3rd time this has happened.
Yeah, you guys can't keep crushing my soul and my heart, The JPN, what's up, JPN? From this down to the Lightning Collection, they've just let us down. There has to be a company out there that cares. There's just no way. There's no interest. That's what I'm saying. I do think that I do think if they were to put up the rights for Power Rangers, somebody that does care would purchase it for sure. I still think it has some value. It's just you got to crack that code and be committed to actually doing something with it, and I think that's the problem. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to that. We were going to talk a little bit about Lanterns. They dropped like a 5-minute trailer or a 5-minute preview, but I'm like, we're going to be watching Lanterns tonight. So I would rather just hold off on the 5 minutes. Had you seen them, Stuart? Had you seen the 5 minutes, Joe?
Yeah, I saw the I think it was a weird choice to release it. Let me just put it that way, because I kind of think I know what they're going for with Jon Stewart's backstory, but it was just so. It felt like something happened and then something else happened and then something else happened, rather than this happened because this happened because this happened. Like, I don't know. So I was just really confused on the relationship between the kids and the dads and what it was that they were afraid of, and then how they. I don't know. Was Jon Stewart's dad basically mentally abusing him in order to make sure that he grew up with zero fear, or what's going on there? Regardless, I think I was just more confused. And so I kind of wish they didn't release it. I wish they just waited till the whole episode came out. My favorite part about it, though, was the flash forward when we get Jon Stewart working out. He leaves the gym, and then Hal Jordan picks him up, and his first line is, "I'm late."
I'm late.
That made me laugh so hard.
It's funny. I like that line because it's usually the person getting in the car that tells the driver you're late. But Hal's like, "I'm just gonna get ahead of you, buddy." Just like I love that. I love that.
So that was great. So
yeah, that was pretty great.
I'm looking forward to 9:00 tonight.
Yeah, me too. I told the girl, I don't know if the girlfriend's looking forward to it. I don't even know if she's super aware about what Lanterns even is, but I'm definitely planning on sitting down for some must-watch TV. And just so you guys know, I will be doing live reviews for the Lantern season every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time. So watch the show on Sunday. I'll probably try and catch it a couple times, and then we'll be reviewing it for you guys Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. So certainly tune in then. But all right, guys, that will do it for all of our main topics here today. And with that out of the way, Stuart, I think you know what time it is.
I do indeed.
And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
And we're going to get into our live viewer questions portion of the show. If this is your first time on the channel, how do you submit a live viewer question? Well, I'll certainly tell you. Every Saturday afternoon or evening, yesterday was actually Saturday evening, I dropped this, on our YouTube channel. As you see right here, we will be posting live viewer questions. So again, every Saturday afternoon or evening, just come to our YouTube channel, click on this post tab you see right there, and voila, live viewer questions. It says we have 3 questions, but I thought we had a little bit more than that, but that's all right. Let's go ahead and sort through these. All right, we got Peg C in the house. I appreciate you coming through today, Peg C. So the first episode of Ninja Kids Power Rangers just dropped on YouTube. How is that Ninja Kids series was released before what would have been the Disney reboot? Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. That's kind of crazy to me, but yeah, it's here. I haven't had the opportunity to watch it though. Have you? I think I've seen clips on Twitter of the team facing off against Goldar, but I haven't had to watch the actual series itself, though.
Yeah, I haven't either. I'm not sure if I'll check it out. I mean, I'll wait for word of mouth, and if a lot of people are saying it looks really good, then I'll probably check it out at some point. But as of now, I don't really have too much interest.
Now that season 2 of X-Men 97 has wrapped up, are you looking forward to season 3? And if so, what do you think they can do differently? Me personally, I would have them add 10 or 12 episodes and give each episode a chance to breathe. To be fair, I have not finished season 2 yet. I think I ended on episode 5, so I definitely have a couple more episodes to certainly go. This is kind of how I felt a little bit about season 1 at times, was that while I really appreciated how they navigated through so many different arcs to make it kind of flow beautifully into one, they still managed to balance out great emotional work and character development, while also at the same time, I think, juggling multiple, I don't want to say sagas, but aspects of Marvel Comics into such a short amount of time. But I still was kind of weary of man, I feel like we're rushing through some really great content here, that some of these arcs could be a little bit longer in their own right. So while I haven't seen season 2 fully yet, to hear you say that you personally would like to add 10 or 12 more episodes, I'm wondering if you want in total 10 or 12, or if you want to add 10 or 12 to what we already have to give each episode a chance to breathe. I guess for me, my thing is, when it comes to animation, I shouldn't be getting 30 minutes of animation and also 30 minutes of live action sometimes. Like I feel like animation, you could maybe even go a little bit, the 30 minutes doesn't mind that. Like, if I'm going to get 30 minutes of animation, I definitely feel like I need more episodes than what we're certainly getting. And I do think you're onto something, Pegsy, in the sense of getting those stories the opportunity to breathe. So I don't know if I would add 10 or 12, or if that, like, maybe the 12 is like the maximum number of episodes, but I would be okay with something like that.
Yeah, I still haven't seen season 2 yet. I'm going to. I swear.
You haven't watched any of the episodes?
I've seen the first episode and that's it.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
I will get around to it. I swear.
Do you think Street Fighter movie will be a hit or miss once it's released? I am starting to think Street Fighter will end up being another Masters of the Universe, in the sense of another fun film that doesn't take itself very seriously, that it hits with some people, but it's not enough to draw people out to the theaters. So I guess in that sense, a hit, but maybe missed financially, if that makes sense, Stuart.
I'm right there with you. I think it looks like the kind of movie that might be a little bit too self-aware, and I think that's going to be the film's downfall. I think you'll definitely have people that'll really enjoy it. I think it's definitely going to be a big hit with the younger crowd. But yeah, no, I don't. I see this doing like either Masters of the Universe or Mortal Kombat numbers. I don't see this being a hit.
What did Mortal Kombat 2 make? Because I don't think it made a lot of money at all.
Not at all. Hang on.
Fed with the 10 jewels, gold coin. Boing. I wish we had like a Zelda rupee animation and I can just pop up in my hand anytime I get somebody gives me 10 jewels or a gold coin.
What are that's new to I haven't seen that. What is the jewels?
Yeah, I don't know what the jewels, like. I wonder, can I trade the jewels in for something? I'm curious.
But thank you though.
Fed says, I hope Street Fighter gets at least cost back at a theatrical run after that solid dig sales. Nathan says he doesn't think it's going to be a hit. Like it looks fun to me. Like visually, it looks really appealing. I've also been a big fan of just the soundtrack that I've heard so far from the movie itself. I like some of the actors that are definitely in it. I do think it's going to have a campy cheesiness aspect to it with some incredible fight sequences. So I think there's going to be a lot to enjoy. I just don't know if it's going to be everybody's sort of cup of tea. And so I can see people that go out to see it that are like, man, I had a fun time with this film, but I just don't know if it's going to draw out a big crowd.
So Mortal Kombat made 129.5 million. I think it'll make a little bit more than that since this one's going to be PG-13, so maybe 200 million. That'd be my guess.
What was the box office for? Roughly Masters of the Universe was like $113 million. So yeah, if it cracks $200 million, I might be surprised, but I hope it does. Visually, it looks pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see here. Marcelino. I hear this a lot. Many people say that if you make something R-rated, it would be a better movie. They say this about Sony Spider-Man movies, Jurassic World, and even Thor 5. They say that the PG-13 rating hampered them from their true potential. It used to be one of these. I used to be one of these people, but now I have constantly argued against it as it would not affect the writing. If Morbius was R rated, it would still be the most boring paint by numbers movie. Movies like Punisher, Warzone, Hellraiser, Bloodline, Alien Covenant, and the Purge films all went over the top with violence, and they are all shitty movies and are living proof that R ratings can sometimes ruin a movie, as it can be now used as an excuse to show more violence, sex, and swearing that you couldn't show in a PG-13 movie. And there are tons of PG-13s that prove you don't need an R rating to tell a good story or an excessive violence to make your movie good. Movies like A Quiet Place, Lights Out, The Visits, hell, even X-Men Days of Future Past and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 all capitalize their PG-13 ratings well and can be violent and scary without going overboard. And above all, we're passionate about the stories they want to tell. You know, I'm actually kind of surprised sometimes when I watch Spider-Man Brand New Day. I am surprised at some of the swear words that we're able to get away with these days in a PG-13 film. Not to say that I felt like the Punisher or Frank Castle was swearing over the top, but there are definitely some lines that I'm just like, I guess this is PG-13. Okay, you know. Sometimes that type of stuff does surprise me, but yeah, I'm definitely not a believer that a rated R movie would make a movie better. I just think sometimes rated R films are very appropriate for certain characters, you know, like Venom. Well, the way I would have approached Venom would have been more of horror alien type of feel to it. So the Venom movie I would have made would have definitely have been a rated R. But yeah, not all movies certainly work under rated R. Like we were asking for a rated R Logan for like the longest time, a Wolverine movie for like the longest time, and we finally got it, and it actually was a great Wolverine movie, you know, or Logan movie. But yeah, not in all cases for sure. I definitely agree with you there, Marcelino.
In fact, I would actually say in the case, even though it's a TV show, so technically not R-rated, but TVMA, I would say that was like one of the main things that sucked about the live-action Titans show. You know, I really don't think they needed to go for that overly. They tried it was such a try-hard, like with all the blood and swearing. Like it wasn't like natural. It was like, you know, it was like I'm 12 and this is edgy. But I will say though, if it's a movie that's already bad, if it's already, you look at the script and you're like, this is garbage, but we have to shoot it anyways, go for R, because here's the thing, man, exploitation is fun. I'm a sucker for exploitation when it's like, you know, your movie's bad. Just give me something really dumb that I'll just enjoy watching, you know. It may not have any rewatch value. It may not be something I recommend, but at least I'll leave the theater going, I saw blood and boobs.
I love it. Here's why many say Thor: Love and Thunder is worse than The Dark World. First, we need to go back to Ragnarok. Many say that while Ragnarok was a good movie, but it's not a good Thor movie because it wasn't true to the Thor mythology and did more harm to Thor in retrospect because it made Thor into a joke. Love and Thunder turned all the jokes to 11 and ruined Thor's character, where he doesn't take things seriously. It doesn't feel like a god, but feels more like a Star-Lord. The Dark World was a boring movie, but it didn't damage Thor's character, which many are saying Prime Thor is back in Doomsday. You know, looking back on it, I probably would prefer. Then again, I haven't rewatched Thor: Love and Thunder since I first saw it, but I probably would go with The Dark World, surprisingly. Just off the top of my head, I might, but it's been a while. Maybe I need to rewatch Love and Thunder, but it's been a minute.
Yeah, I would definitely put Dark World way above Love and Thunder, because that movie feels like there was actually like an effort. I feel like Taika Waititi, despite what he says in his interviews, I really don't think Taika Waititi even wanted to make Love and Thunder, honestly, because it really, or at the very least, if he did, it felt like his movie that he wanted to make was not the movie that we ended up seeing, unfortunately. But with Dark World, it's like at least there was like a vision for it in some way. It felt like Love and Thunder, not really much of one. But I will disagree about it ruining Thor's character. I actually think the identity crisis aspect worked really well, and it was actually exactly where I would have personally put his character after the events of Avengers Endgame.
We also have let's talk about Children of Blood and Bone. Children of Blood and Bone is the first book in a YA trilogy that was released back in the 2010s that uses African mythology and magic. Yeah, I actually just saw the trailer for it when I saw Spider-Man Brand New Day. After numerous failed attempts, it's finally receiving an adaptation that's coming out next year in January. It has an all-star cast with Idris Elba, Viola Davis, Regina King, Cynthia Erivo, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and many others. Everything was going well until the original author, Tommy Adeyemi, distanced herself from the film. She stated that the studio lied about giving her creative freedom as an executive producer and writer. They did not respect her work, and that she dealt with a toxic environment, including suffering panic attacks. She also blocked Amanda Stenberg after getting in a feud where she's accused the actress of lying to the press that she gave her blessing to the changes. This was on top of the controversy Amanda got since she was also light-skinned and played a character who is dark-skinned when the book's class and income is measured by how light and dark your skin color is. Have you heard about this at all, Stuart?
I saw the trailer for the first movie, which I think actually looks pretty cool, but I had only like kind of seen like headlines about the author being very disappointed by the results, so I didn't know any of the specifics. But now hearing it kind of sounds like it's the same thing with the creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender, where they were promised one thing, but then in actuality, they didn't get it at all, which is, that kind of creative control. Like they would be the ones who would have like the overall final say in everything. So my guess is that that's what the studio promised her, was final say when it came to like the overall finished product, only for her to find out that that was not the case. It sucks. This happens a lot with authors, unfortunately. I recommend if you guys want to read something hilarious, read the editor's notes or the notes that the author for Percy Jackson gave to the studio when the movies came out, because they are absolutely hilarious how much he does not like them. And it's clear from looking at his notes and the actual movie, they didn't listen to any of his notes that he gave to the studio at all, because every complaint that he had about the script is in the movie. So I'm it's unfortunate. I'd be curious to hear, like, in terms of the toxic environment, like I'd be curious to hear more specifics about that. Like, was she constantly like silenced on set? Or in the case of a lot of writers, unfortunately, there's like this ongoing rule that like a lot of filmmakers or directors tend to have, where it's like keep the writer away from the set, no matter what. So oftentimes if a writer is kind of visiting on set, a director will probably have a PA, production assistant, basically approaching them, acting super friendly, like they just really want to get to know you. They really want to be your best friend, but really their intention is just to keep you off the set. So I wonder if that's what she's referring to in terms of the toxic environment. I'd be curious to hear more about it.
Yeah, I would be really curious to find out more about it. I mean, anytime I've heard her talk about what's going on, she's very private and secretive about it. She doesn't really want to get too much into the finite details, outside of her maybe talking about having really terrible experiences on set, along with suffering panic attacks and things like that. But as far as like squabbles and whatnot, or really the root cause of the problem, I don't believe I've seen her actually come out and like firmly talk about it. The two things that really come to mind is the colorism aspect of things. People pushing back against the idea of Amanda not being darker, whereas I believe the main character in the movie is certainly darker. And trust me, there's a bunch of different shades of black people in this movie if you've seen the trailer itself. But I guess based off of the main character herself, some people feel Amandla is a little bit too light for that role. And I will say too, I really don't know what's true and what's not true in regards to how she felt about Amandla Stenberg. Even though she's not the one that had a hand in casting Amandla, maybe there's some issues there. Maybe Tommy would have appreciated to have cast somebody else. I'm sure she's met with Amandla before. I'm sure she's had talks with Amandla before. I think there's even an interview out there where she is defending Amandla based off of some of the pushback that Stenberg is getting from people that are arguing about colorism. So it is odd to me that Tommy at some point in time was on board with this casting, so much so that she came out and defended it. And so I am kind of curious as to where the backpedaling in regards to certain things are coming from. Was there drama on set between the two of them that we don't necessarily know about, and now she decided to not have her endorsement, not give her endorsement anymore? I'm wondering if Tommy is also feeling maybe pressure from the outside of people saying, no, girl, you need to stand up for your creation in that regards. Like, if the Amandla is not the person that you really wanted for this role, you should start standing up and saying something about it. So I don't really know what it is, but I can also see it being a writer being thrusted into a first-time position of executive producer and being a part of a big studio machine, like you mentioned, Stuart, where your creation is no longer yours in that regards, right? Like, it's now kind of the studio's, and the studio has that final say. And so, I think that's a hard pill to swallow for people who, if this is her first true like book to movie adaptation, it feels like maybe she's learning stuff the hard way. And it's really unfortunate that if she is being treated that way behind the scenes, that she has to learn like this. It kind of almost reminds me a little bit of like Nia DaCosta's relationship with Marvel Studios in regards to how things turned out with the Marvels a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So I definitely do think that there's more things behind the scenes that Tommy's not being very truthful about, or at least isn't telling her whole truth about the situation as of yet. So it's really hard for me to kind of judge the situation. I don't want to be like, well, sorry, Tommy, you sold it, so you don't really have any say in here. I don't necessarily want to say that, but for somebody who it's not lost upon me too that maybe she always all along felt some type of way about the casting of Amandla, but she maybe felt she had to fall in line with promoting of the movie and keeping it in a positive light, that she went ahead and sat down and did these interviews to support Amandla, where in reality she really just did not want to do, she really didn't want to do that. Like, I can easily see that being a situation too where they're twisting her arm and it's like, you have to give us this movie positive press in some regards to it or another. But now the reality of it all is kind of hitting her. So really unfortunate, but I'm kind of hoping that more things kind of come to light before I push any blame on anybody. But I do think the idea of the colorism is certainly an underlining issue for this that hopefully gets exploited a little bit more as time goes on.
Lastly, before I go, I'm just going to give the most extreme example that I remember from this. But back when I was, at community college, one of my film teachers, he had a writing course back when he was a student, and one of the teachers, it was one of those things where it was like he was a professor for only one semester, from what I understand, but he had the author of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest teaching at his school for like a whole semester, and there had been this rumor that he had heard beforehand that he had apparently never even watched the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Cuckoo's Nest. So, he asked him, hey, is this true? You never saw the movie adaptation of your book? The author's response, trigger warning word here is about to be used. He goes, asking me to watch that movie would have been like asking me to watch my daughter get raped. So there are definitely some authors out there that are really passionate about their books. So, whenever I hear something like this, it's just, it's unfortunately just not as surprising, But yeah, on that note, unfortunately, I do have to take off. So I will see you all around later.
Yeah. Thank you, Stuart. Have a good day, man.
You as well. See you tomorrow for the movie podcast. Awesome. Cool.
Absolutely.
See you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Have a good one. Nathan says the author is very confusing. I've seen the video she posted and it seems like extremely physically severe happened to her. So if she clarified after that video, I haven't heard anything. Yeah, I haven't heard any clarification on her part. She's been very private, which I don't blame her for. If something happened to her on set, I can understand her wanting to keep that to herself. But I hope in time that she does express it. Tommy kept it vague, but I think we will learn more once the movie drops. Yeah, I think so too. Nathan says, yeah, they could have had a relationship and it went south. Yeah, definitely a possibility. Kiki and Lucas says, I just want to say I love you, live viewer questions. And we've got one more from Jessica Friedman. Do you think Hasbro will try to sell the rights to Power Rangers to another streaming service? And what do you think was the biggest surprise at D23? Which upcoming Disney sequel do you think will be the next big thing at box office? Which upcoming Disney sequel would be the next big thing? Oh, definitely Doomsday. I don't know if there's another Disney animated project or anything like that leading up to Doomsday, but Doomsday will definitely be the next big hit at the box office. I don't know if Hasbro will sell the rights. I am kind of curious if Hasbro is watching some of the reactions on Twitter. I did a short little 3-minute video talking about the cancellation of the live action series. And was just like, look, at this point, Hasbro, just sell the rights, man. Like, just sell the rights. Like, clearly, there's no intentions on doing anything creative or taking a big swing or having any level of belief in this in this IP. Like, the one person that did have that belief is no longer with the company. It's like when you're playing football, you're on a football team, and one general manager hires hires a particular coach that wants to, draft this number 1 overall pick or whatever the case may be, right? And they have it in they have them on their roster for like a year or two sort of thing, but then they change out the coach, right? And a new coach comes in. That new coach may not look at that first round draft pick and be like, I don't know if I want this person to lead my team. Like I have maybe I want to go more defensively. Maybe I'm a little bit more defensive minded coach. And so they wind up picking up other players for their team that match what they want to do. But that first round draft pick you had from like 2 years ago, he's now kind of sitting on the bench. That's what Power Ranger feels like to me, right? Like Power Rangers was like the number 1 draft pick from Brian Goldner, but Chris Cox winds up coming in after his passing, and he's like, you know what? I kind of want to go the Dungeons and Dragons Magic the Gathering route. And that's really where they've gone. And Power Rangers has just been sitting on the bench, hoping that somebody pays attention to it. Like, coach, let me in the game. And then, it just, every time they've done it, it just hasn't worked out really well for them, unfortunately. So I just don't think that they have the passion or the vision for Power Rangers anymore. And at this point in time, like, just try and get as much money back as you can. Just put it up for sale and see what type of bidding war. Because I do think that somebody will pick it up. Again, if I had my choice, it would probably be Amazon MGM, Apple TV, or Netflix would be my top 3. I wouldn't even mind throwing Peacock in there to round up for a 4th one. But those are just some of my thoughts in regards to it. As far as what I think the biggest surprise at D23 was, probably the Indy Never Ready as Rogue. That was a huge surprise. I was just ready for Kaylee Spaney to walk out on the set. So the fact that it was Indy Never Ready was a huge, huge surprise for me. I even think, honestly, the reveal of Coco 2 was actually a pretty cool one. I really love the opportunity to see some of the visual concept art that they wind up creating for it. Even some of the first look images at Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man season 2 look pretty dope. And Percy Jackson's season 3 trailer was pretty freaking cool, man. Like, visually it was pretty stunning. I'm not one that really watches that show, but watching it for the first time, that trailer, I just kept thinking to myself, like, yeah, man, this show looks good. And so there's just this 1 or 2 days of things that really stood out to me, but those probably be my top three. My top three for sure. A Fed says the way Victor threw Thor, the demigod, against the wall like a rag doll. Yeah, it was pretty intense. Fed says, yeah, Percy Jackson season 3 trailer beat Doomsday trailer. Nah, I can't do that one. I can't I can't agree with you on that one, Fed. But yeah, the Avengers Doomsday trailer was pretty epic. It really was pretty epic. But I mean, like, surprise wise, like, I expected Doomsday to be epic anyway, but surprise, definitely Percy Jackson season 3 trailer definitely caught me by surprise. But yeah, guys, that will do it for all of our live viewer questions and for our show as well, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you, everybody that certainly joined us and participated in today's show. Tomorrow, we will be doing a Monday movie matinee for you guys. Stuart and I will be going live at 8 p.m. Central Time to go ahead and talk about the end of Oak Street. And maybe we might throw in another movie here or there. We'll definitely keep you up to date, but definitely join us for our review for the end of Oak Street as of tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, certainly join us again for our Lanterns review, as we will be going live Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. I kind of also want to try and do another episode of the Force Report this week. I don't know what anybody's schedule certainly is. It might be something I might have to push off to next week, but I really would love to talk with Will and Crystal in regards to some of their thoughts about the Ahsoka trailer, even the some of the information we've gotten for Star Wars Starfighter. We'll see if any other information drops later on this week. So I don't know if we're going to do a Force Report this week or if we're going to hold off for the following week or whatever the case may be, but we'll definitely keep you guys posted in that regard. So definitely join us tomorrow and then Tuesday for brand new videos here. And of course, we'll certainly join you guys next Sunday for a brand new time. I do want to give people a heads up that when the football season starts, if you're new to the channel here, usually around football season, we do begin an hour early because your boy is a football fan. So I like to try and knock out as much of this show as we can so that when we do wrap up, I can at least still catch the first, some of the first football game of the morning. So, or of the afternoon. So the first game, I believe, starts Wednesday, the 9th. So I would expect September 13th, that's Sunday, September 13th, we will be moving back to our start time of 11 a.m. Central Time. So remember, September 13th will be the beginning of 11 a.m. Central Time for Hero Report, just so you guys know, okay? But other than that, guys, that will do it for us here. We'll certainly see you guys next week. And in the meantime, do us a big favor, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.